right?
What happened there? No, I'm not. No, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it.
Yeah, right. So,
Come on, Adam, where are you?
We're doing a solo stage first, right? So, welcome to the live, everyone. Obviously, this is the first live that we've done with other people. Well, we've had Arnold before, but like multiple people this time, and it's the first time we've had Keith on. Hopefully, Jack, when he I haven't got my watch on, when he shows up. But yeah, welcome everyone. This is going to be a good one. We've got a lot of topics to talk about today. A lot of Q&A kind of stuff as well, and questions related towards Jack, Keith, and Arnold. So let's get into this anyway, lads. So, how's everyone's day going? How are we all?
Not bad. Not bad. Finished all my maintenance for the week, so that's all good. I've got my weekend off, so it's all good.
Great stuff. I see that you've got your laptop on the side there, Arnold. I need to start doing that, to be honest.
Laptop?
Well, you're responding to people in the chat.
Yeah.
Oh, your phone. Oh, you're on your laptop now, and you've got your phone
Yeah.
to type. Probably smarter, to be honest.
I need to do that. I need some space for a laptop.
My laptop, you know what? It sounds like a jet engine when I turn it on, so I'd rather not. Probably like take the air circulation out of the room because it needs to breathe. We'll start the live anyway. Nice to see all the familiar faces: Jeff, Tommy, Harry, Chloe. Just giving a little shout out to everyone. Fresh water. I'm not going to butcher that. I know. I
Rebecca.
Rebecca. Nice to see Rebecca. Right, nice to see all the familiar faces. We've also got AV Aaron in here as well. Tanks and Fish, I believe he commented on one of my posts earlier as well.
Shane, that is.
Shane. So nice to see all the familiar faces tonight. But we'll start with the first topic anyway. And I do have banners actually set up for this. Why not? So I don't want to get into the good ones because also, well, I mean, I've got the all good ones, but I don't want to get into ones that I feel like Jack could also add in. So we'll start with
What topic?
You know what? We'll start with the one that you brought up, Arnold. So let's start with quarantine opinions.
Your volume's gone down.
My volume's gone down?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How have I knocked that? It's all going sideways. How's it gone down?
You sound more like General Palpatine out of Star Wars.
What? Can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, we can hear you now. Yeah. What you? Oh.
Sounds better. What is that? What was that?
Did you put...
What was that? I'm so confused.
Paranormal activity,
talk about trying to set up for some kind of professional live, and I was all just going sideways, honestly. But this is how my lives usually go. My young apprentice. Right. Oh, nice to see Melvin is in the building. Great
and
stuff.
Gord,
and Gord as well.
Yeah.
16 people as well. I've seen that we had a nice queue of people waiting as well for this live, so good stuff. But we'll get on to our first topic anyway, as I put there, quarantine opinions. So what's everyone's opinions on quarantining?
Definitely a must. I reckon it's a must to quarantine your fish. Yeah, especially around my area anyway.
How so? Like, is it because so like when you're getting fish, are they going straight into like a preset? Well, obviously a preset up tank, but like, is it a tank that has already got inhabitants, so you're not wanting to maybe spread any illnesses or diseases, or is it you wanting to make sure that they're not going in and then issues domino afterwards?
Normally, I quarantine them for 4 weeks in a separate tank before they then go into their permanent home.
Do they go in like a empty glass bottom, or do you have like something that's already cycled?
No, bare bottom, sponge filter, heater. That's it.
Just bare basics, yeah.
Yeah.
What about yourself, Keith?
I've been all over the world with quarantine, and to be fair, I've had Like, I'll usually set up a tank and just stock it with like one lot of fish and then leave it like that. I won't start adding to it. But like, I used to collect fancy goldfish, and if I didn't quarantine them, you could have like nightmare horror stories with them. So I used to do like similar to Arnold, and I dose with salt, with ick, and with like a fluke treatment, and then a
Yeah.
wormer kind of thing, just
Oh,
straight
sweet.
away with goldfish.
You're just taking them to hospital, basically.
Yeah, I've,
Giving
I've
them the
got so many horror
full-blown
stories.
treatments.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I've
I,
had goldfish come in and they've literally just rotted in front of my eyes, and it's been like horrifying to watch.
Yeah,
Mm.
so fin rot and all that, them kind of things. I can imagine as well with yourself, Arnold, having beta fish with the longer finnage, that you probably have the same issues with like fin rot and stuff like that. If you're getting a fish in from external, and there's all these people in the community that, or not people in the community, but it's like a trend for people to go into these pet shops. They'll find a beta fish that's on its last legs and go, you know what, I'm gonna take that home with me and chuck it in my tank and give it a whole new life. But then at the same time, you're bringing all illness and disease because it's been sat in like a little cup for all this time, and then you're adding it to your tank like boom straight away.
Yep.
So I can imagine. But I've just seen this comment here by Rebecca, by the way, and this is kind of the same situation for myself. She doesn't have the ability to quarantine. She only buys from a few stores. Myself, I buy from multiple stores, and I've only got one tank as well. So the issue is that when I'm buying something, it's straight in. And I think I have quarantined a couple times, and I've done it with the coolie loaches that are in my tank now. I got them from a place called the Wave Chinook. You might have heard of it, Keith.
Yeah, I've
They
heard of
shut
that.
they shut down last year, unfortunately, and the gentleman who was running it has sadly passed. Rest in peace to him. He was a lovely fella, a lovely bloke, but I remember buying these coolie loaches from him, and it looked like there was a bit of a gash on the side of one of them. So I had them in a I don't like doing it, but I had them in a bucket for maybe a week. I was doing treatments. I was obviously it's really difficult with coolie loaches. They're scaleless fish, so you're having to treat half the dosage, make sure that they're being fed consistently, monitor them as much as you can. Obviously, in a bucket, and they're like a squiggly little thing that's flying around everywhere. It was probably the most annoying kind of thing, but and especially getting them out as well because it's a round bucket with a net. But yeah, that was one of the few times that I've quarantined. But if I have, or in the future when I have more tanks, it's definitely something for everyone in this live. If it's possible, do it, because if you've got a tank with all these expensive fish, or it's a established community, you throw something in, tank wipes can happen. I remember I bought a Hillstream loach and the first one died, and I was like, I don't know why. So I went back to the shop when it told them that it died. They gave me a replacement. That one died, and it wiped the tank. Boom, just wiped everything, and it was probably that was like one of the worst things in the hobby I've been through. To be honest, it like definitely challenged me because I'd had wipeouts in the past, but like I think it'd been like 2 years since I'd had a wipeout, and like I really, really liked the fish too. I had these type of crebensis, like a wild caught one, Taniatus lobe. Obviously, there's this whole debate in the which is a crib and which isn't. I think they're now classified as a crib. Don't quote me on that. We'll have someone in the comments correct me, or if we upload this to a Facebook forum, you'll probably have war. But yeah. Anyways, tangent over. Basically, quarantine your fish if you can. If not, make sure you get them from a reliable source, and the fish have been in for like a good while, and they're well looked after. Because even if it's a good fish shop, it mightn't be on the fish shop's fault if they have issues. So yeah, I don't know. I think Jack said that he will be joining. I'll see him in the guest list in a moment when he does join. But that's our first topic out the way anyway. Has any let's knock that off for now. Rightio. Right, what are people saying? Everyone's just saying hi to each other.
Yeah, we've got Glenn in chat as well, and William.
Okie dokes.
Who else we've got?
Shrimple, yep, nice to see.
Yeah.
Pelvi Taniatus, still cribs, I think. Okay, thanks for correcting me on that, Rebecca. By the way, 20 people, big live, big moves.
It's
Everyone's
'cause
excited. That's why.
it's 'cause we've got Keith.
Exactly.
Oh,
He's
hey,
the drawer of attention right now, aren't you, lad?
all right.
Nah. Honestly, you've been smashing it though. I've been watching the lives that you've been in and out of. Obviously, there was one that you were in with Jeff and Arnold the other day, and then another one as well. I believe I don't know the gent's name. I did subscribe to him and said hello to him as well.
Glenn, wasn't it? Glenn.
Yeah,
GB.
Glenn.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
wants to smash the lives on his channel. So
yeah. The Birkenhead. But
I, what's he saying?
the Birkenhead botanist.
Botanist.
Botanist, yeah.
He was calling me the
Talk,
scout. He was calling me the
talking about
scoutscaper before. I said I'm not scout, and there's already a scoutscaper.
this is what I mean. The Scoutscaper, by the way, I was talking to him earlier. He was saying that he wants to get on the live at some point, but he said he's also quite outspoken, so he did upset some people last time he was on a live. But I'm sure he'd be sound anyway. I've spoke to him for a couple of months anyway. He's very good. If nobody knows of him, he used to upload videos, but he uploads Instagram reels very frequent. AV Scapes, by the way, he also lived your ways of the water. He used to go Andy's quite frequent as well.
Yeah, I love
But
Andy's.
the Andy's, yeah, he used to always go there. He now lives in Canada, but I went Andy's to set up not this tank, but the one of my girlfriends. So I got them Nanakara from Andy. Oh, Jack's here.
It's about time. I'm going to slaughter him.
TikTok, Jack. TikTok.
Hey, I'm late.
Welcome.
Where have you been, Jack?
Yeah.
I'll explain. Okay, I'll explain.
No, we don't hear it now. We
Yeah,
don't hear
Oh,
it.
he's,
right,
getting,
okay.
he's getting the solo stage.
Oh, can you even hear me? I haven't
No.
checked.
What?
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 I'm sure you can hear me. Otherwise, you wouldn't say what.
What, mate?
Let me
Sorry.
explain. Okay, so I was chatting away with Adam for like half an hour or whatever, 3/4 of an hour. I don't know, a long time.
Yeah.
Adam's
and
fault.
then no, it's not. And then I was gonna then I said like, oh, I just need to get ready for the live. So that was 1:45. Then I came down to grab a snack and a drink and whatever, and the doorbell rings, and I'm like, okay, I'll open. So I opened up, and it was like this guy, and he was like, oh yeah, hi, I have like a fish tank, and I want fish. And I was
What?
like, okay. And so because the thing is, people can like see like in Google Maps, like my shop is there, but I don't have any opening hours there, and usually I have people come round with an appointment. So I was like, okay, it's a bit weird and random, but I've had it happen before actually. Anyway, so then there was two guys, and they were there looking at fish, and they took like a long time. So yeah, that's basically what happened. And then, well, in the end, they bought fish, and that's the story. So that's my reason.
Okay, I'll
So
allow
that
it.
Adam's fault to start off
I
with
did
then.
publicly leak your address. I'm sorry about that, and tell people that there's free fish here. I'm kidding. But
No, so
yeah, it's nice to have us all here finally. Obviously,
yeah,
18 people watching, which is great. A lot of familiar faces and stuff like that too. I do have some questions anyway. Obviously, Arnold's taking the mick out of me, saying he feels like he's back in school. Although I'm not sure if you remember Arnold. Right, so we do have group topics, but I think like we'll start with we'll start with a good group topic before we get into individual questions, and then we'll start with Keith, Arnold, and then Jack, if that's all good, lads.
Well, you do Keith, Jack, and then leave me till last because you've asked me loads of questions before. People might get bored of it.
Yeah, but there's a lot of different eyes this time because there's people coming from Keith's and you've got people coming from Jackson's and then obviously myself. But I think a lot of people are mixed into each other's channels at this point. We'll start with a very good one anyway. This is probably my favourite one. I had a good thought about this last night. Actually, I don't want to not have my banners put to use to spend some time. Right. Why fish?
That's a good question, huh?
Why?
That is very.
That is like, you know, I thought about this. What is your reason for like why is fish your hobby? What out of all the things you could keep lizards, you could keep rabbits, you could go on runs, you could you could play games or whatever. Like, what is the reason that fish keeping's your hobby?
For
Go
me,
on,
I
Jack.
started.
Oh, me? Oh,
Start with Jack first.
I thought
Yeah,
Or
Keith was going to
cause
start.
you're late.
I was not paying
we'll put your
attention.
center stage. The pressure's on.
Center stage, pressure's on. So why fish? Good question. I think. Well, for me, bit of background story for those who don't know me, maybe. Um, I've always liked animals, and I've kept animals my whole life, basically. And it didn't even start out with fish. Well, technically it did, because when I was a baby, my parents had a fish tank. Then when I was about 4 years, but that quickly went. Then I was about 4 years old, and I got my first two goldfish in a fishbowl, of course, because that's how everybody, well, not everybody, but a lot of people back then started out. So, and back then, I'm saying that's well, that's not even 15 years back. Um, but that was kind of normal, or at least here in the Netherlands, it was quite readily, like a lot of people did it. Still to this day, a lot of people like keep goldfish in bowls, which isn't right. But anyway, that's another discussion. Um, anyway, so I had the goldfish, and then well, it gradually became. I had my first rabbits, then I had some chickens, and I had some hamsters, then some birds, then a dog, and it was just every time something more, and then it came to fish. I always wanted a fish, like a real fish tank. I always said that. So um then I got my first fish tank or like my first real fish tank, which I still have. That was about when I was about 7 years old, 7 or 8 years old. Um, so then I got my first real fish tank, and started keeping fish, and I thought it was quite fun because it's just fish, and they were breeding. I had guppies, breeding, and then I sold those, and then, you know, I got more tanks and more tanks and more tanks until the point where we are today. Um, but I think the reason why fish, but there again, it doesn't really count because with my other animals, I've also like grown like at like to a crazy level. Like with my birds, I have about 30 cockatiels, and I breed them for like competitions and stuff, um like for the Dutch championships and stuff like that. Then with my rabbits, I used to breed those as well, and I had tons of them. Chickens, I breed them. I've got baby chickens right now. Hamsters, I bred a lot. Like, so it's like everything with me. When I get something, I have to be like crazy. Like, I can't just have one of them. No, I need 1,000 of them. So I think it's the same thing with fish. But then fish really, I really liked fish, and I liked the way. I think it's just that underwater wildlife, which is just so fascinating. Like, to think that, because most things you see around you is like above water on land, and you think, oh yeah, they've got lungs, they can just breathe, the air. But then it's like fish, they they breathe underwater, like they somehow live underwater that we can't do. And it's like fascinating to see everything, and like all the different, like the ecosystems. And yeah, I think that's just the reason why fish. So, and I mean, I think under that also counts like shrimp as well, because they're part of it, and snails. So I think, yeah, that's my answer to that question.
Good, very good answer. To be fair, I'm sorry, lads, but I think I'll jump in and say my one before any more good things are said because I'll run out of something to say. But yeah, no, I completely agree. I think like my reason, I think we all started with a goldfish, didn't we? Let's be honest, a goldfish. Or if someone says that they started with like like a fancy angelfish or something like that, you're lying. You didn't start with something that is like super exotic, or maybe your family members did, but like,
Yeah.
what did you start with? What was it like your first memory? Like for me, it was, you know, the same old. I had a goldfish in a tank, and the goldfish, the goldfish I had was actually passed down generationally. So it was originally in a nursery, and it would live there for about 10 years, and then it got passed to our neighbor, who is my brother's nan actually, but she's not mine. And she had it for a couple of years. It got passed to us, and it was called Jaws, and we used to feed it blue bottle flies, so it'd rise up to the surface and like nom them like in Jaws. um and that was like my first memory of fish keeping, like having this. It was a big goldfish, in a small bowl. Again, not something I agree with, but obviously I think education wise, and I think people's knowledge wasn't as vast as it is now. And now obviously if you post something online that's slightly out of place, so someone will keep you in check for sure. But yeah, I started with goldfish, and then had shabunkins as well, which again is just a colourful, larger type of goldfish, I guess, or that's like similar size. They're in the same family, I think. And then I started 5 years ago with a little tiny nano tank with three cardinal tetras. The pets at home setup. And then way too many fish, upgraded to a Flex, had that for so long, etc. But the reason for me, like I was seeing some comments in the chat there, it does reduce like stress and anxiety, and like what Jack was saying as well, that the whole fascination of seeing something like actually underwater. You'll see the top level, but the underwater aspect of it, it's like amazing to see all these behaviors. And again, we wouldn't really have any idea what the behavior or how these fish would even look if it weren't for people scooping them out of a river and putting them in glass boxes for I don't know how many years. Like it's a crazy thing for sure. And since then, it's just become an addiction. That every time, I've had like tank wipeouts and stuff like that, I'm stuck. Like I can't leave. I'm addicted, and I want more, and I want to learn more and find out more. And I did. If anyone's a mod, Harry, if you put that video of 5 reasons why fish keeping's the best hobby, it's just, I think it is the best hobby. It's been my hobby for 5 years, and I'm probably gonna be for the rest of my life anyway. Keith's turn, or Arnold? You're gonna argue who wants to go
We'll let
first?
Keith go. We'll let Keith go.
No problem. Right, Keith,
How
center
long have
stage.
you got? I'm like half a century old now. But for me, like, I got into it because there was like a ton of us. We used to go down the shore here into the River Mersey, and we used to like go crabbing, like flicking all the rocks over and finding crabs. And then the teachers in school done like a thing with tadpoles. They brought tadpoles in and turned them into frogs. And then me and all the lads from school were like off on our bikes in all the local ponds, like up to our elbows in duckweed, looking for tadpoles. And I was obsessed with them. The school had a fish tank, and I was like constantly messing around with it because my nan worked in the school. She was like the supervisor of the cleaners. So when everyone went home from school, like the headmaster let me play in a fish tank. So I was messing around with that, cleaning it and stuff. And then my nan bought me a goldfish. And then I had that in like a little plastic box, and then I was saving money up and going to one of these aquatics. And I'd be after goldfish. I'd buy like the little plastic vivarium things they used to sell. And I'd buy it, and then I'd go in the next day and I'd be like to Andy, can I have a goldfish? And he'd be like, are you 16? I'd be like, yeah. And then he was like, are you sure? Because you look about 10. I go, no, I'm 16, mate. And he was like, well, have you got a tank set up? It's been set up for 6 weeks. And I said, yeah. And he said, well, you bought it yesterday. I was like, yeah, that's a different tank. So in the end, I ended up buying like tons of these little vivariums and keeping all sorts of fish in them. Never had any luck. Was pestering Andy why's my fish dead? So I told you yesterday. And I just learned and learned and learned. And then when I left the military, I went out and bought this tank when I was about 18. No, when I was 21, I bought this tank, like 21 years ago. And I've had it ever since. And I've just like expanded and expanded. I've been all around the world with fish keeping. I've had everything from goldfish shipped in from Japan. I've had marine tanks. I've had monster fish. I've had Lake Tanganyika. I've had Amazon fish. I've got angels, and like I've done everything virtually. And I just can't get enough of keeping fish. I don't think I'd ever get enough of keeping fish.
Great answer. Yeah.
Definitely. You're like me with the fish tanks. Absolutely gone absolutely wild in my house. But yeah, it's started off with a goldfish in a bowl. So don't do that anymore. Jack's got a video on that one as well. So then I got like a 240-litre tank, and then I had some large tinfoil barbs in there, which wasn't a very good idea. And then now I've got my big fish room, and yeah, it helps with mental health because I have mental health issues. I've been suffering for 6 years now, and I'm on 20 tablets a day just to keep me sane. 20 tablets. But yeah, it calms you down, anxiety wise, depression wise. It's just an all round good hobby to be in. And like Keith says, there's always new things to learn, and there's thousands of fish out there which we haven't kept in the hobby yet. So we might as well get a few more tanks and start getting some of those rare species like Adam. Yeah. So yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
Good little plug there.
Well, I helped all three of you.
Yeah, you do. You very much do, Arnold. So again, everyone, make sure to. Oh, look, they're talking about Scousescaper.
Oh,
Here he is.
Here he is.
I haven't seen him for a while. Me and him had a bit of banter on one of my lives a while ago. And it
Yeah.
was refreshing, to be fair, to have a bit of local banter.
Yeah. We're calling you a wool.
Yeah.
I swear I heard some sheep noises a second ago. But yeah, what's it called? I think we had a good little expansion there. By the way, just to double check with you, both Jack and Keith, is your time still limited?
What do you call limited?
Because I think Keith said point that way. Keith said that he may be on another live tonight.
Yeah, well, I'm not in Arnold's now.
And then I think you were saying you can hop on for a bit, so I didn't know if that was limited
Yeah,
time.
it depends how long you're going for and like how late it gets. You know, that's more the thing.
We're not planning a 24-hour stream if you're thinking. So we'll be buzzing through questions anyway, and having the questions written down will give us a bit of structure, so we won't kind of go into tangents. So it should keep us in a decent time frame anyway. So
Cool.
We've got Whitefish ticked off the list anyway. I'm just double checking. We've done quarantine as well before you joined, Jack. So sorry. 1, 2, 3.
I can give you my answer. I don't quarantine fish. That's my answer.
I'm saying, but I do recommend it to anyone who has multiple tanks, of course.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but I know, and it's a very controversial topic actually. But I've never in my life quarantined a single fish, like never. And I've had no problems with it, to be honest. Now the difference is, I think, I do know how to look at fish and like what to look for, or like I can immediately tell if something is wrong with a fish.
Yeah.
So when I see that, then I take immediate action. Also now it's a bit different for me because I don't buy fish from fish shops anymore because I'm my own fish shop now, basically. So then it is, of course, up to me to the fish that I get in to like, yeah, quarantine them. But what I do, I make sure they are healthy before they get sold, and I do a couple of different things to make sure of that. Like clean water is the biggest point, really. The clean, like if you got clean water, your fish will be healthy. Um,
Mhm.
just like in simple terms, basically. Good food is another one. I feed them very well, like high quality flake food. They do get some pellets as well, and also multiple times per week they get frozen brine shrimp, and sometimes some live baby brine shrimp. So it depends. But I think those things, are fine. And it's just I've never. I do get the point of quarantining, and especially if you get in from like multiple sources and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, I think it also depends if you know where you're getting them from, what the source is, because I can totally understand if there's like it's a shop you've never been to, you don't know what they do, how their protocols are. Yeah, then that makes sense to quarantine. But if you get them from a shop that you've gotten fish from like multiple times, they've done well for you, they look healthy, things like that, then it's I think maybe a bit less necessary. But I don't know. What I always say, everybody should do what they want to do and what they think they should do. So, and I'll still give advice to people on how they can quarantine fish, and if they want to do that. But I think here in the Netherlands, it's not that common. So I think it's also like a region thing, because in some parts of the world it's really common to do that, and in other parts it's like totally not. Like here in the Netherlands, you can ask, like, say you ask 100 fish keepers here in the Netherlands if they quarantine fish, maybe 5 will say they do, the rest will not.
Yeah.
And it's purely down to, I think it's like, well, the issue I then have is like, but a quarantine tank is a wasted tank. Like I can use that tank to have like fish and a nice aquascape in and stuff like that. Um,
Yeah, fair
so
enough. Fair
that's
enough.
just
Yeah.
my
See, I think in the UK, I think the quarantine thing caught on when we first got YouTube, and all the Americans were talking about quarantining on
mm,
YouTube.
Yeah.
I think it
yeah,
took off massive then. But
yeah, because yeah,
do you know who the
I
most
think.
underrated people are in the hobby? Talking about like quarantining and stuff, the most underrated people in the hobby are the local breeders who are smashing breeding and knocking out like really good fish. And
mm,
we're going in buying fish that have been imported from all over the world. Most of them
hmm,
have had illnesses and stuff. And we've
yeah,
got lads around the corner breeding like top quality fish. And
exactly.
no one's buying off them.
No,
And then
that's
they're
that.
having to take them into the fish shop and basically give them the fish shops.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's definitely a good point. That's why I also, before I like really started focusing on selling fish, I was breeding everything. Everything I sold was breeding. But the problem is I got more demand than that I could offer. That was my problem. So that's why I upscaled and did that. But I really want to go back to whenever I upgrade and upscale again, I want to have a special breeding side and a selling side so that I can still breed my own fish, because I do still breed my own, like discus, angelfish, stuff like that, plecos. I breed those myself, and you can really see the difference in quality. Like it's,
Yeah.
you know, yeah,
I think it's one of them, like I said earlier, that if you were to buy, even if it's the most reliable shop that you go to on a consistent basis, say one time the import from a different breeder, or not breeder, but like a different country, or maybe the order from the same country and something's gone wrong and wherever them fish have been bred. Again, you don't know. It's almost like Chinese whispers. Like you'll have the original place it's come from, and over time it'll change from what it originally was. So throughout transport, there could be illnesses developed through stress, or maybe
yeah,
where they've been breeding them, they're trying to get the fish out more often. Obviously,
yeah,
we can go deep into this, but like say that for example, a fish has become popular. I'll highlight rams, Jim
mhm,
blue rams, amazing fish, but that fish has been strained out heavily recently because of the
mhm,
popularity, and now you're finding a lot of illnesses,
Hmm.
yeah,
deformities, problems and with health, shortened lifespan. The list
yeah,
goes on. Like this can happen from anywhere, and like as you said, local breeder, or maybe yourself, Jack, where you sell and breed your own fish, is probably the better place to source it. Obviously,
Hmm.
I think it's down to these fish that you know are going to be a solid strain, you know they're going to be whatever. But if it's something that's relatively new into the hobby, then you
Hmm.
could be okay to trust it. But again, if it's wild caught, you don't know
Yeah,
what it's carrying in the wild. It's so many
definitely.
different things. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
think Yeah, I think it's also important to mention because maybe some people are like, "What? You don't quarantine your fit?" Blah blah. I do kind because I keep them like I wouldn't sell a sick fish. That's very simple like that.
yeah,
But also a good thing to mention, I think, my wholesaler is unlike all other wholesalers. Like I'm not kidding you, because this wholesaler actually, and you probably know that Aquadistry, Superfish. It's
yeah,
like
Hmm.
Aquadistry
Yeah.
is the mother company, and everything like Aquafleur and all those things fall under that mother company. Anyway, so they have the Aqua Farm, and I don't know if you know um, MD Fish Tanks and Fish Shop Matt. They went to
yeah, yeah,
visit it about a year ago, I think. I
Yeah,
mean,
that
you
was
could see
amazing, that
there.
video.
Hmm?
yeah. It was a great video.
Yeah,
Keith said,
yeah. And you could see there already, but they have also like really strict quarantine procedures that they do with their imported fish and stuff like
mm,
that. Whereas some wholesalers, I think, are not that strict on like things and like, I mean, I think you could see it even in the video. They talked a little bit about how they do their process. So yeah, I couldn't really trust that place with their fish as well. So.
that's why I'm quite excited when when I do head over to Amsterdam/Netherlands, like to maybe just see the culture of like fish keeping over there, and obviously visit you yourself,
Hmm.
because like the difference in different countries. Obviously, we only get like through YouTube or the internet like a taste of how fish keeping is in America or Canada, with the likes of Jeff and AV.
Hmm.
But over here, it's like as you said, Keith. I think before YouTube kind of become bigger for fish keeping, it was one of them that you just can't. It was a word of mouth thing, and only the people who worked in the shops kind of had the knowledge that they had to be able to pass on to you, or maybe the people that have worked in shops and they've read many books, or fish obsessed people. But opening the doors with the internet, obviously, it's allowed so much more things to be spoken about and learn a lot more about the culture anyway. But we'll pass on from the quarantine topic anyway here, and we'll go
Yeah,
on to
sorry for
maybe.
bringing that up.
No, no, it's fine, because obviously you were removed from it, but you had a good point and some good things to speak about. So I think I'm kind of glad that you did catch up in the end, because I'm sure the people in the chat will definitely agree that we got a good conversation out of that topic still anyway.
Mm.
So we'll start with, we've got the big book here. Shout out Cloveleaf for getting me to start writing things down, because you know what, this is one of the topics I'll cover later about YouTube in general for all of us, but writing things down has leveled up the content creation for me, because I've got bad ADHD. I'll have an idea in my brain, but then I'll just go off on one and go elsewhere. So having it written down keeps me more in check and keeps me stress free. So I'll start with we'll start with Keith um with a question, and then so I guess we'll do the anti-way. So we ended with Arnold. Actually, you know what, we'll start with Arnold first and then cycle round. So we started with Jack, and then we'll start with Arnold this time round. So Arnold, yourself, so sorry, there you go. Right, knowing from your knowledge anyway, and conversations that we've had previously, Arnold, you said that you've kept salt water, you're keeping fresh water, and then you're now back to salt water and brackish. Tell us some the pros and cons of like each one. So what would you say? You can start with salt and then go to fresh. Like what are the pros? Like a couple of points that you've got.
The pros about salt. I find it's a lot easier maintenance wise than the freshwater tropical side. There's
Yeah.
less maintenance. I mean, you do a 10% water change every week. You don't have basically you have live rock as your filtration system. so there's no sponges or anything like that in your sump. It's basically all live rock. You have a skimmer. Same as brackish, really. Brackish is basically the same. You do a 10% water change. But you do have on that one, you do have a filter which has like your sponges, your biomedia, your mechanical filtration. And then fresh is, I would say it's a lot difficult maintenance wise, especially if you have multiple tanks like I do. 28 tanks and trying to maintain every single one of them. And I think Jack can vouch for that as well, because I think we basically do as much maintenance as each other, I reckon.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think there's more to do in a freshwater side, but again, it's the same with salt. You could either do it the easy way, like the less expensive way, or you can do it the very expensive way and the hard way, which you will then end up having dosing machines and rolling machines and everything like that. I just went basic with mine, and it worked out fine. But I didn't put half as much time into the marine side than that I do in the freshwater side. It is crazy to think that it's less work.
Would you say it's like a false perception that everyone has then that maybe freshwater's easier?
Definitely.
Also, just like a quick one as well, like whilst we're on the topic of like brackish and that, what like I know what brackish is, because like me and Keith, we know what the Mersey is. It's like a mix of both. That is kind of brackish / salt. How what would you say like is the difference between having a full saltwater tank to a brackish?
It is the salinity that is the only difference. So brackish water is anything I think up to 10.12, and marine is 1.020 to 1.025. So yeah, it's basically the salinity is how much salt is actually in the water.
Okay.
Yeah, so you have to have a refractometer, and that's how you test the salinity in your aquarium.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's interesting. It is interesting to do both, but yeah, it's not as hard as people make out.
Okie dokes. That was a great answer, Arnold, for sure. We'll rotate back around now to Keith. Give you the centre stage, lad. Right. So I have one about obviously what you've been talking about a lot recently, but I think I'll save that for last, because you probably have heard this question a lot recently. Well, not this question, but like you've heard a lot of Wallstar questions recently. So I'll let you talk about something else first. What would you, so you've been in the hobby quite some time now, haven't you? And I was wondering like what you've learned that you swear by that other people wouldn't know.
That I've learned that other people wouldn't know.
Yeah, so like what? So like you've been keeping fish for like the periods of time that you have. Like, what would you say that is something that you stick to and swear by?
Well, I don't know. There's loads of stuff. I think for me, it's like I always think you should like shop around. You should try different things in the hobby, because like Arnold was talking then about the saltwater side of things, and then because I've done the saltwater side of stuff, I've learned stuff from the saltwater hobby that like no one in the freshwater side of things will be doing, but it's like common practice in the saltwater side of the hobby. So like the stuff that they're doing that is regimented, they do that like the freshwater side wouldn't think of. Like I was talking about the Bowler method for like SPS corals. Now I've seen loads of people talking about dosing freshwater tanks for like calcium and magnesium and stuff, your KH and your GH. and like it's all solved by the saltwater side of the hobby. They do it every day when they've got like SPS codes and stuff. So for me,
Yeah,
it's just about experimenting and learning. Like yourself, like with having ADHD, you'll like micro learn all the time. You'll get fascinated by stuff and hyper focus on it. So,
fully
like
agree, lads.
that's that's what I do. Like I just constantly like I've got to move my hands when I'm talking to all my videos, and people are like, "Why are you moving your hands?" I'm like, "Because I'm concentrating." That's what I do. But that's
Again, we all have these little habits. Like I think Fisher popped into the live the other day, and he was skitting me because he said, "I think we need you to bring out some merch," because I kept saying or every time I was
you
talking
know,
because he needs something So in quotations with like a fish next to it. I think that'll be a merch launch at some point.
you know,
you know, uh, but we'll get on to Jack now anyway. So we're cycling round and then we'll do the other way back round, I guess, because I think it's like a healthy way of getting through these questions. So Jack, yourself, obviously, you're the youngest out of everyone in this live at the minute. But you know, you know,
you know,
You know,
I shouldn't have brought it
you
up
know,
because now everyone's gonna start saying it in the chat.
you know, yeah.
Ah, anyways, right.
Calm down, Adam. Calm down.
So we've already gone through the what I think for everyone we've already got through the same questions of
Yeah.
what got everyone into fish keeping and why. But how long have you yourself, like, I know that you said you've kept goldfish and stuff like that when you were younger, but how long yourself have you kept fish for, like, in it seriously, in the serious sense of things, scheme of things?
Um, well, so like I said, so I would say I was around when I first got my real fish tank, which was a 60 liter or 70 liter tank. I was, I think, around 7 or 8, something like that. So that's about 10 years ago, roughly. Um, so yeah, about 10 years ago, I would say that's what I would say. I don't know. Yeah, that's about it. Because then I had my first tank and then it grew from there. So it's kind of like I was keeping fish seriously from about 7 or 8 years old.
Okay, and I'll do a double one because I think that was a short question. But what fish? So this was one that like really intrigued me when I was like thinking about it, and I spoke to Harry, who's the fish keeping ginger as well. Obviously, you're gonna get to meet him when I come see you. But what fish are easy to obtain in the Netherlands, like where you live?
You speak it? Are you talking like like any fish or just like
Like
generally?
so when you look across like how I talk about say a blueberry tetra and I say that's quite a hard fish to get in the UK, it's not like a common thing. Like what would you
Okay.
say is something that's like quite a lot easier to
Hmm.
obtain that you'd say is like hard in other places?
Ooh, that's quite an interesting because I think, like, actually, I think you can literally whatever you can nearly get every fish you want in the Netherlands. Like, even if a shop doesn't have it, they'll order it for you from somewhere.
Wow.
Um, you can literally, you can go into a shop and it's like, oh, you want a different fish that we don't have? Okay, fine. Tell us which fish it is, and then we'll go look for it. Like literally, they'll go on the hunt for that fish. I'm not kidding
Wow.
you. So it's like I don't know. So basically, we can get pretty much any. I don't think there's even any rules with like which fish you can't. I think you can keep like all the monster fish if you wanted to, although it's not very common here. Not a lot of people have like monster fish and monster tanks. It's just not popular here. So you don't in shops generally you don't see like many like Oscars or bigger cichlids or the bigger stuff. You don't really see that in shops. I mean, sometimes, but usually those are like things that people then get ordered in or something like that, or like big catfish and stuff like that. Um, I think so. Well, I know one thing, but that also counts for the rest of Europe and the UK. I think is well, the one thing I always find interesting is that pea puffers, like here in Europe and stuff, they're pretty cheap, not too expensive. But then in Australia, they're like
Mhm.
Oh
$100.
yeah, yeah,
It's like
yeah.
insane.
I've did.
That's
It's like ridiculous the price in the fish in Australia.
I
And
know.
I was speaking as well. It's not just Australia. My friend Davey Escapes. I think it's was it £8.50 in neon tetra, or like
What?
or like £8.50 to like £10 per neon tetra, and albino corridoras were in the brackets rare fish.
Okay.
Like all of us are
Really?
like albino cories. Oh, what? You can get that from like I don't know the bottom of a pond somewhere. I don't know. You can find it in someone's back garden. But like you'll find it in someone's wallet. I don't know. Like you'll find it anywhere. And he's
Uh-huh.
saying it's a rare fish, which is very like baffling. Yeah, look,
Okay.
he's confirming there. So
Huh?
please don't. Sorry. So we'll before we go into more questions for everyone.
Interesting.
Jeff has put a question for the panel anyway. Most underrated fish in the hobby.
Rummy nose tetra,
Mm.
I think.
I'd say at the moment on the Whittle, it's on around here. It's got to be rainbows. I think I've just got
That's
into
also a
them.
good one.
No one's
Actually,
keeping them.
that's a good one.
Rainbows in the northwest aren't so popular. I have to agree with you, but I wouldn't say underrated. I think I'm looking in my tank right now. I'm just trying to think in my head. Um, I've got it. I've got it. I genuinely think one of the most underrated fish in this moment in time has to be like Nanakara. I think not so many people are aware of them. They're aware of epistogramma, they're aware of rams, they're aware of cribs, but nobody like I didn't know they were. I think the first time I'd actually seen them in person, or I'd probably seen them in other places, but never looked at them. Was I wouldn't have bought an Anacara if it weren't for Andy. Like put one of the people in Andy's Aquatic pointing out saying we've got Anacara Animala here. The gold, I think it's nicknamed Golden Eye Cichlid. Um, yeah, like it showed me it. I was like, wow, that's stunning. Because I was trying to go for something rare because I've been keeping a lot of the common stuff, or I've kept a lot of common stuff over the years. And I was gonna get checkerboard cichlids, but after seeing them, I was like, wow, like how's nobody really know about this? And then I posted videos about it, and people are like, what is this? I don't know this, and like they're not aware of it. Obviously, I think again for Jack though, you probably go, oh, I know about this. I've seen this. It's very easy to obtain. Whereas us were like, oh my god, wow, look at this.
Yeah.
With it.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because you do well. The cool thing about the whole YouTube world and especially like live stream and stuff is like I'll say like, oh yeah, the other day I got those fish or this or that, and you have people say like, how did you get those? Where did you get them from? Or like certain plants even like certain types of plants, and it's just yeah, it's quite interesting to see that not everywhere in the world you have like all the things like, and I think especially with Australia I saw a few people saying, or like Harry was saying like $100 a fish, question mark, question mark, question mark. And the primary reason there is they've got like strict rules with importing,
Mm,
and so there's only a limited kind of illegal amount of fish sometimes, and then they have to breed them, which then could be difficult, and then well the price of the fish, if the demand is high, the price of the fish goes up. So that's pretty
mm.
simple. I saw Mandy also said, or she was asking, isn't the aquascaping world pretty big over there? So I think nanos are the most popular as they can go with planted tanks more easily, right? So I would say that's also, yeah, pretty true. Like, um, a lot of people like it. That's also a big difference with. I'm usually I compare most things with the US because that's just how it
Yeah, I think
works,
bog standard.
because
Yeah.
what I say for the Netherlands usually also counts for UK and Europe in a not all things but some things. But I can definitely probably say this is planted tanks in general are so more popular here. Like if you look in the US, it's like, oh yeah, do you want the pink rainbow gravel with the little SpongeBob ornament and the multicolored LED lighting because the fish really likes it, and the glowfish, all those things. Um, it's like, and then here, people like in shops get told, okay, you need a tank, you need a substrate, you need plants, live plants. Like nearly every fish shop will say you need live plants, or they'll recommend, live plants are good. Like I still remember when I was going to fish shops like as a newbie out, because if you look at my first tank, yeah, you can probably say, okay, it was maybe not, it's not the nicest looking aquascape as per se, because I didn't even know what that was back then, of course. But I'll show you some pictures. I don't know if I've got a picture. I've got a picture up there, but wait, if I take a picture of that picture and then I'll show the picture, if that makes sense. Let me. Okay.
I'll just answer Legacy or Melvin real quick. Lake Tanganyika, all that, yeah, all them kind of fish that are obtainable. They're not so rare here, to be honest. Like I think in the UK, everything's almost obtainable. There's a couple things that are out of reach. Like we've got Pier, like a shop like that that'll be able to import them. But then, apart from that, it is like difficult. If you tell your local fish store, "I want this," they'll go, "Tough luck. It sucks. We're only getting these mollies and swordtails, and you get and you've got no other choice." I'm like, for
Yeah.
Christ.
Well, the
Like,
thing with the
they stick
UK,
to the imports.
the thing with the UK now, of course, is because of Brexit, those type of things have been or gotten more difficult with importing stuff from like Europe. Like before, they could get everything from Europe, like everything,
Yeah.
Or from, I should say, the EU, because UK is still in Europe but not in the EU. Anyway, but I
There we
think
don't get that.
no, but I think because of that, because they're now separate, like importing stuff, because we've Arnold, we've tried maybe to look at, sending you some plants and stuff, like, but then the fees you have to pay and stuff, and like it's so difficult. You need documentation, and I don't know.
Yeah.
So it's just not, but I've got a picture here. Let me see if I can. Okay, so this was my first ever tank, and this is literally how it looked. Okay. Okay, so there was a bit of algae there then, but as you can see, this was what was advised to us. So a gravel sub. I think there's even a fertilizer stuff under that substrate. Um, like the
He
powder
said the
stuff.
word. He said the thing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, dear, I've got this.
Anyway, so we had that, then gravel, and then I had, live plants. We had a filter heater, and then I just had some SpongeBob ornaments because I thought that was cool and funny. I had the whole set. I got, the houses and all the characters. I still have them, actually. It's so funny. I still have them. They're in storage because I will not throw them away, even though some are half broken.
Oh, dear.
But doesn't matter. So I've still got those.
Yeah, my first setup was a SpongeBob pineapple too. It was planted, but I had no clue what I was doing. But the fact that like that's the staple of how the standard of fish keeping
Yeah,
is over there, like that's
exactly. Yeah,
amazing to hear.
Go for it,
exactly.
Shane. Go for it.
What? What's Shane saying?
Tanks and fish.
Oh,
He's gonna get some graphics made
all right.
to go.
Yeah,
But
me
no,
as
I think
believe.
the standard is different, like here, because you get taught from the start, like you need live plants, and so all like the plastic plant. We don't even have. If you go into a fish shop, you see a tiny selection of like some plastic plants, just because they have them, if people want them, but not a lot. Like the planted tank sections are usually massive. Like I'm talking big. Like these big, massive plant holding tanks with tons of plants usually. So yeah, I think that's pretty cool.
I'm excited to do a shop tour whilst I'm over there as well, because
Mhm.
I wish I had more time on my hands to be able to visit them all. Obviously, I'm seeing you and then doing a shop tour, but I've also
Yeah.
got a holiday to go on as well. So I'm
Mhm.
mixing a
Yeah.
bit of both. We've dedicated a day to fish keeping, but that's definitely something that I'll love to show on the channel and like express like this is the level of fish keeping that I think we're getting to eventually over here. I think like it is creeping up. Like you'll go into shops now, and this is what I mean. I think there's the topic of saying there's pets at home or these PetSmart or whatever. In the UK
Yeah.
at the minute, they've tried to set this standard and ask what your tank size is and not sell you things.
Right.
But then obviously it's Chinese whispers. They've read or been told something originally, and the person who originally read that, it's been passed on, passed on, passed on to the point now
Mm.
where it's like the holding you at gunpoint saying you're not allowed to get this thing or
Yeah.
no, and you're having a full on argument because a man's telling you if you have coolie loaches, they'll eat your nearite snails.
Yeah.
So you're
And
having
they
know.
don't even know why. Like they're just saying it because like yeah, I get what you mean with that.
So it's one of them. I think it's getting there. It's just it needs to get there in the right way, and hopefully with the influence of the fish keeping world online getting bigger, that eventually
Yeah.
it'll get across the board to the point where it
Yeah,
should
yeah.
be a decent standard. But we'll move on from that anyway. We've
Yeah.
had a good topic there. So what did I say?
It's actually also interesting. You don't if you'll see this if you go into a proper fish shop in the Netherlands, you will not find any type of like colored gravel. Like any like pink or rainbow or green or yeah, you won't find it. It's just all natural gravels and sands and stuff and aqua soil stuff like that. So I think that's also an interesting point.
See you later, Jeff.
Take care, Jeff.
Bye, Jeff.
Right. So we'll cycle back around now. So I think we asked Keith, didn't we?
Arnold wasn't here last time.
Arnold. Sorry.
me.
So it's back to yeah. Then you. So now it's Jack's turn again, is it? Or we've already asked Jack, and then we went on. No, we already asked Jack, and then went on to group. Well, oh, it's time for group topic already. Although we've already done one. Oh, okay, right. So this is one that I think I was having a bit of a conversation with Jack before the live about it anyway. But which YouTuber did you watch, or like you're watching now that like inspires you or inspired you to like begin making content?
Do you want me to answer that? Like
Yeah.
first, I've done like like in the old internet, there was like there was no way when you were on forums, there was no way to share your video. Like you couldn't put a video on a forum like on Facebook like you can now. So everyone used to use YouTube to like upload videos. So I had old videos that like on my old channel. But then like I seen Big Fish Lad one day doing a video and I was like, wow, I want to do a YouTube channel. And he went, just do it. So like me, ADHD, just got my phone and just did it there and then just recorded and uploaded. And the first comment was Big Fish Lad saying, I can't believe you just done that. Like, that's amazing. And like he supported my channel ever since, and like I've hacked his head to get into plants and stuff. And so directly to get into YouTube, it was definitely Big Fish Lad or Paul, isn't he? He's changed his name to Fish Northwest, but he'll always be Big Fish Lad to me. So I can't get the name out my head.
Shout out to Paul, by the way. Early when I started as well, like he was one of the first people to like shout me out and like plug the channel. It was like very early doors as well. I think he's seen me at Abyss Fish Shop Tour. And by the way, I don't go about doing shop tours now. I always make sure to call them up and ask for permission. I just decided I'm gonna. I don't know what they think of it, and I don't know what their opinion is. But I went round just recording, and I've heard the back end from my friend Johnny, who works at the Maidenhead in Blackpool, saying some guy just walked in the other day and he was like recording. He was a bit weird and shady, and that. It was like he was just sat there recording gravel or something like that. Like, so it's like I wonder what they were thinking when I was walking around the bus. But yeah, Big Fish Lad, Paul, I've spoke to him back and forth, and he's a great great person. For myself, I was speaking to Jack about this earlier. Don't know if he's in the lab, but he was in the last one. Fish Shop Matt, MD Fish Tanks, Aquarium Co-op, Primetime Aquatics. I'm King of DIY. All them kind of people that are big across the board. I'm missing people out at the minute. I always say this in like me lives, like the people that like inspired me. But to make these videos, like I think the two main was probably, obviously I've shouted them other channels out, but the two main was probably MD and Fish Up Matt, just because like I think compared to the others, they seemed a lot more like personable, kind of like relatable kind of approach to things. So like it felt like they were talking to you kind of way. And I've said this, I'm not sure if you know already, but I was off work ill and I just decided to start recording a video of me tank and like let people know what was inside, how long I've been doing it, etc. And then that video just went boom. I was like, what? It's my first ever YouTube video on the channel. It's like went to the moon. I remember getting 1,000 views. I was like, oh my god, this is like crazy. And since then the ball's just kept rolling. Honestly, it's one of them. I think hopefully one day we're the people to inspire others to get into it as well. But I'll crack on to Arnold now. Arnold's time to shine.
I'm gonna, yeah. I'm gonna say Jack.
I was just about to say we trained this, Arnold. We trained this.
Plug. Link in chat right now. Yeah.
No, yeah, definitely Jack. Because I remember that was when you were setting up your the free bank rack system.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember it was that one, and I thought to myself, well, I've got exactly the same amount of room in my front room, to get rid of the sofa, and put a rack system there. So for anything's possible. So anyway, I ended up doing it, and then it kind of got to the point where I was watching Jack's aquascapes. So I was taking like little bits and pieces of what he was doing to his escapes, like how he did the substrate layers and different, to try and make a different aspect to the, to people viewing it. And I think I've said it to him before, but he always keeps saying no. His escaping is for his age is beyond a lot of people. I mean, he's got such a knack to doing his aquascape, and it's unreal. And yeah, I think you deserve a lot of credit, because I think a lot of people are coming onto your channel and they're taking, even though they might be younger than you, but they're taking the inspiration of what you're doing to put into their tanks. And then, yeah, because that was when I told you that you need to get your face in front of the camera.
True. Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
True. Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah. You said in the video, do you think I should, be in front of the camera? Oh, I don't think I should do that. And I just basically told you bluntly to get yourself in front of that camera.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing with YouTube, innit? Like, I think my first video didn't have my face in. I think my first few didn't. It's one of them. People like to put a face to the content or the identity kind of thing to make it a lot more relatable, I guess. So yeah, that was definitely a good little bit of coverage on that group question. I think I'll do one more before I start asking the individual questions again. The hardest fish to keep. I've actually, I can't believe didn't use my YouTube inspiration banner. I want to cry.
Come on, Adam, sort it out. Come on.
Come on.
There you go.
You know.
Poor Adam.
Right. So what is everyone's like, what would you say? I know So I say hardest fish to keep. There's obvious ones that people say, oh, this one's really flimsy, whatever. And like people say in the chat, oh, rummy noses. People say they're finicky, but then man's like bulletproof. What for you has been the hardest fish to keep alive? Struggle.
I'll tell you straight, yeah. Everybody's gonna disagree, or maybe not everybody, but my answer would be guppies.
Oh no, I fully agree.
Because
Fully agree.
well, look, say it this way: all the guppies from the shops, no matter which shop around the world, it really doesn't matter anymore. They're so inbred and just sicknesses and stuff. Like they just don't stay alive. They or not for long periods. They not like they used to be. Like I remember, I used to have. I call it the old-fashioned guppy, you know, and probably people who are older than me will say, "Oh, that's not an old-fashioned. We had even better ones," or you know. But what I remember is in that tank, I had like a big guppy population, and I had to sell them and give them away even because you know, it's like so I had so many. But then nowadays, the ones you get are just so weak, and like I don't recommend them to people. Like if they ask me what's a good beginner fish, I'll never say guppy. I'll just never. It's just you know, yeah.
You said the thing again. Nah, I totally agree. I remember when I first started watching like fish keeping videos when I was getting into the hobby, and guppies were one of them that were always highly recommended. But even early on, I think the likes of like Aquarium Co-op was saying, "Oh, they made the video 1 week, and then the week after you're like, oh, they're not so great now." And then like it started to domino effect, and I think people are starting to realize very quickly that oh, my tank light's gonna go off. Realize very quickly that they're not the beginner fish they used to be, because I was saying this earlier about the likes of rams. That the genetics have been really weak, and they just don't last long. I think for me, the one fish that I haven't been able to keep alive though, what is it? Snails is one of them. They always just die. But I think
Interesting.
Mm.
But you mean? Do you mean
Otto
also?
Simplest.
Oh, Otto saying. Oh yeah. Um. First about the snail. Do you mean like all types of snails, or just like fancy snails, like mystery snails and stuff like that?
No, just bog standard neorites just don't like my tanks.
Okay. It
They
it, it could be maybe with your water, something with your water could be maybe.
could be, yeah. I think it might be down to the hardness or something like
Yeah.
that.
What's the
But I haven't.
hardness like?
I think it's just neutral.
Uh,
Just
Probably the issue they don't have any. There's no like calcium stuff in the water for them to remineralize their shells and like strengthen the shells.
Mhm.
You know. I think
mm,
it's probably something to do with that. That's my guess, um, but I don't
I'll
know.
I'll let Keith talk.
You know what? That's what we're saying about snails. Then I always have a problem with snails. I've got ram's horns going, like leopard ram's horns, but
Oh
most
yeah, you can.
snails.
The pet snails, oh my god, you cannot get. I think in the whole world, everyone says, yeah, you can throw like a bladder snail, and that you'll have about 30 by tomorrow. Like they'll be perfectly fine, but the ones you want to live, no, it
Oh,
ain't
Oh,
gonna
no
work.
chance.
right.
Yeah,
That's
I
the hardest,
misunderstood you there. I think.
the hardest fish I've ever kept, and just had no success with it was saltwater fish, the copper band butterfly fish. And everyone,
mm.
like for years, would say you need to make sure you get one that's feeding. So I'd go round all the fish shops every time I went in. I'd say, "Is that copper band eating?" And they'd be like, "No, it's not, mate. Nah." And as soon as you ask, they just put their head down and go, "No, it's not." And this one day was like, this guy was like, "Yeah, do you want to see?" Fed it and it nailed it. I brought it home and it just wouldn't eat anything. So I was like researching it, and this guy said to me, "Buy a mussel from the shop, from a fishmonger's. Go and buy a mussel and put it in your tank live." So I walked all the way into town, bought this one mussel. Asked the guy, and he was like, "We sell them by the pound." I said, "Well, I don't want a pound of live mussels. I just want one mussel." And he's like, I don't know how to sell you that, mate. We sell them by the pound. So I ended up arguing with him to get this mussel. Walked all the way home, put it in the tank, and the copper band went over to it. And it was looking, and I was like, I've nailed it, I've done it. And me rats just swam over, nailed the snail, nailed the mussel. And that was it. Copper band never ate, just wasted away. That's the farthest fish. It just drove me mad trying to keep it alive. Just watching it, like putting food in front of it, and it just watches it swim past. And you're like, you're emaciated. If you eat that, you're fine. And it was just devastating to watch this fish. I've never been able to buy another one.
Actually, I'll say this: not hardest fish, but like the fish I've had the most problems with keeping alive, and beta fish. I know Arnold like keeps them alive and breeds them and everything, but like it's another fish where I think unless you're getting them from a good source or a good breeder, the genetics are so poor in them now that like they're so prone to bloat or diseases. And it's highly advised now to stay away from longfin betas and just go to the short fins because the genetics are so poor on these long fins now that like they can't get up to the surface or like swim around properly. So I think that's another fish that I've had like some issues with keeping alive.
I have as well, to be honest. Like, I bought one years ago, and it was sound. Honestly, I don't even think he had to keep it in water. He could have got out in it. They carried on like living. But
It would have went for
in
a
the last
walk to
few
the corner
years,
shop and back.
I just, I bought a few and put them in nano tanks and just had no luck with them. Like with it, like I got one, and it got like fungus on it straight away, and that was it. Nailed it. And a couple of others just can't stay. Like, he just won't swim.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what's going? Like, these used to be bulletproof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's just another case of popularity, and obviously, I think this ties in now for us to stem off the hard fish topic into a question for Arnold anyway, because we're talking about the difficulty of keeping beta fish and stuff like that. Obviously, Arnold actually breeds beta fish for people that don't know if you're new in here, and basically, the question I've got for you, Arnold, anyway, is what setup works the best for beta fish and also what works the best for breeding them?
Right. So we'll do the setup first.
Thanks a lot, Father Fish Bouncer.
And like you were saying, the longfin variety, I would say anything from 25 liters to around 50 liters for the longfin variety.
Yeah.
Fully planted, sandy substrate, some floating plants, sponge filter. Temperature wise, around 23 to 25, so anywhere in between, be all right. pH around, well, it depends, because if you bred them in pH of like 7, you go down to about 6.5. Add botanicals. Try not to feed them bloodworm. Try and feed them like high quality frozen Artemia. And for the breeding setup, I would do like an 85 litre standy substrate, floating plants, again like frogbit or Salvinian natans or water lettuce. Keep the temperature about, well, I did it at 26, 27. And yeah, you just got to take your time when adding the female into the tank. I put my female into a floating breeder for around 2 days just to see if the male, flared up at her, and then she flared up at him. That was then the go at the green light to say, right, we're going to put her in, and then
Put a bit of Marvin Gaye in the background as well.
And then they started to embrace themselves, and then ended up distributing like 100 eggs. So, and then obviously when you have the fry, you leave them in. Lucky enough, I had the you know, the dad actually looked after them for about a month,
Yeah.
which is unusual for a male better to look after the young for such a long time. But yeah, I took the female out after like, I don't know, an hour after they bred, and then just kept the male, the dad, looking after them, and then fed them some cloverleaf essential fry food powder. That was why I fed them for a little while.
Shout out.
Yeah, cloverleaf. Definitely hit them up.
It actually ties into another question I've got for you, Arnold. So like, I've always wondered and like thought about this, but like, how did you get in contact with so many of these like brands?
The Higer was through Stubbs Aquatics, Chris Stubbins.
Yeah.
So I commented on a load of his Higer review videos, and I thought to myself, you know, if he could give me the email address to Nicole. So I thought I'll try and see what happens, and then obviously she then came back to me saying that yeah, you can review a few of our products, which ended up being around what 10 or 12 products now.
Yeah.
And then with Cloverleaf and Fish Science, that was all due to obviously working in the aquarium shop, which had the reps come down from Cloverleaf, Fish Science, NT Labs, Water Life. So they got to know me through that kind of contact.
Yeah.
And then I thought, why not try it, and then see if they would then obviously like to try different channels like yourself. So
Shout
which
to big man Arnold, the plug. Boxing everyone off.
Yeah. I did send Tiger and Cloverleaf to Jack, but unfortunately they can't because he's in the Netherlands. Unfortunately.
Excluding
don't worry.
me.
I think Jack is spoiled for choice. If any brands want to get in contact with him, I think he's got all of them literally on his doorstep. So he's laughing.
But at least he can say that I tried for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You help everyone out, Arnold. Honestly, you're a treasure. Thank you.
Right. We might have to send Nicole and Cloverleaf to Keith.
Oh yeah, too bro. Like I've got the lights on off my tanks. I think they're brilliant. So
there you go then.
I'll
do that. Yeah, I'll do that after the stream. I'll send Nicole an email to get in contact with you.
And that is it Cloverleaf? Is it? Did you say?
Yeah, Cloverleaf.
Yeah. I had what are they called? The worms in my angels, or the Camelanus worms.
Yeah.
And I treated with about 3 different things, and a lad from like the local group said try this, so I ordered their stuff, and it just nailed it straight away.
That's the stuff you've got, Adam.
Yeah. So if I've got any problems, and I know that's gonna sort me fish, right?
There you go. Yeah. See.
Right. We'll get on to a question to Keith, and then we'll go back to Jack. Right, Keith. This is the money question for you. This is the one that everyone's been asking you for weeks, lad. This is my approach to the question anyway. What intrigues you so much about Wallstad, and why do you think it's like, like why do you think it's been something that's been successful for yourself, that like you've researched it enough and stuff like that?
Well, to be honest, like when I first got into it, I was into my goldfish, and everyone was talking about how plants absorb nutrients, and I was thinking I need some of that. Like so, there was some old guy, and he was like, "Get some pots, put some soil in some." And I thought soil. My granddad was a gardener, so I was always in the garden with my granddad, and I thought I'll have a go with that. And I tried it, and all the plants did amazing, and I thought I'm going to keep doing that. And all my plants were all in pots, and all my fish tanks were bare bottomed. So it was dead easy to because I had loads of goldfish tanks and I was moving them around. And you could just take the plants out of one tank, put them in another. And then I was talking to the same guy on this, used to be called Coco's Goldfish Forum, and it was an American forum. And the guy was like, yeah, it's called the Wolfstad method, go and read it. And I got one of the books and I read it. And it just kind of made sense to me. And I was like really intrigued by it. But gives the chance to get stuck in and really read something and really focus on studying something in the hobby. And I've always been big on cycling, and I've read it all, and they're all tied in with cycling and stuff. So it just really fascinated me, the fact that I remember talking to an aquascaper, and I was like, they were talking about aquasoil, and I said, well, what's the difference? What does aquasoil do that this doesn't do? And they couldn't give me a reason apart from you can take plants out and replant them. And I thought, well, I don't do that. I'm into heavy root feeders anyway, so it wasn't a problem I had. Obviously, I've got my high-tech tank in the living room, and that's full of stems. But low-tech tanks, I love big, massive root feeding plants anyway. So it just seemed to make sense for me. I know a lot of people go on about the no water change stuff, but I do water changes on my tanks because the idea of not changing water, every tank I've had problems in, it's when I've got lax with the water changes. So I've always stuck with water changes. But as I say, keep an eye on the nutrient levels in the tank, and as long as they're not crashing, I'll keep doing water changes and stuff. Going to answer that question, what soil do you recommend for the Wallstab method? Well, in the Wallstab method, they recommend the white bag of Miracle Grow Organic. I ordered it and they sent me the yellow, and that's full of fertilizers. So the tank never worked. So I just use a topsoil, it's just an organic topsoil. Anything that's organic topsoil, I don't recommend. They call them hot mixes, where they use loads of nutrients and stuff like that. I've never had success with anything that's full of nutrients. And plus, you don't need it anyway, because your fish food's full of the nutrients the plants need. Apart from obviously, if anyone's planted tank, and done the EI estimated index method, all your micronutrients are in the soil, and the macronutrients that you dosed on the other day, that's in your fish food. So as long as you've got them in check, your tank's flying.
Yeah. Happy days. We've also just got a comment here to say,
Steve, you need to know that tank, it's like a cross between Megan Fox and Jesus. It's that good. I never heard that comparison before.
definitely an interesting one for sure. But
Salient, I was watching his live stream the other day, actually.
Yeah, I've again, shout out Jesse. Obviously, Jesse's been quite active in the chat. I haven't been blanking you, Jesse. Obviously, I've been letting people talk. I'll just scroll up real quick to respond to one of your things that you said. Obviously, you said some funny takes, but Adam, I'm gonna breed my own new fish. It's gonna be called Doritos Locos. Okay, never mind. It was a comedic one. Right. We'll cycle back around now to Jack. Right. So I did ask a question to you earlier, Jack, and it was about what fish are easy to obtain. And I was gonna say to you as well, what plants are easy to obtain, but I think you already answered that within that whole talk about it's easy to get anything pretty much.
Pretty much.
So I did write one down early on, just in case I ran out of things to say because you were answering many things in one. But how is it selling fish, being your own shop kind of thing? How's that been for you? How's the whole experience gone and stuff like that? Obviously, you're saying some guy just showing up saying, "I have fish, thank you, me fish." So it must be quite entertaining and random.
Well, it's definitely been interesting for sure. It's funny how you do find you do reach a different audience actually, because before when you breed your own fish, and stuff, and I sell those fish, everybody wants those fish like really cheap, um, because it's like that's just the way it works here. Like a lot of fish are well, generally the prices of fish are quite low, I would say, but yeah, then everybody wants, and then it's like on like it's not a Facebook mark, it's called Marktplaats, and it's like a place where you can sell all kinds of things, but also like animals, and so you sell fish on there, and like, but everybody wants like a good deal.
Mm.
Then you have all these people who want fish cheap and blah blah blah, and so then in the end you sell them pretty cheaply sometimes. But then the transition to like actually becoming like a kind of part-time shop is Dutch wanting a deal. I've never heard such nonsense. No, the Dutch always want like cheap. The Dutch are really cheap. Yeah, really cheap. Um, Anyway, where was it? Oh yeah, then of course I have to buy fish and then sell them. So I have to sell them for a minimum price to make a profit, and all that stuff, and like costs I've got and whatnot. Um, so then it's like I stick more to my price, and people then also see that I'm like a business, a shop, because it's like you can make like a business profile then, and people understand it, and I've got a website and this and social media and blah blah blah, and then people understand, and then but yet I'm still cheaper than other shops around me, so people like to come to me, and I offer better quality. So yeah, it's been interesting definitely because you see the change in people. You have a lot more how do I say normal people like before you had like some weird people, who just want things cheap, 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 and that's it. Um, and now you also have like normal, decent people, and I had like people who really like what I'm doing, and like, um, it's like people sometimes even give me tips, like they'll say like, oh, round it up to say it's like total amount 45 euros, they'll say, oh, round it up to 50 euros or something, something like that. So that's quite
That's good.
interesting as well.
Nice.
But I think it's just really also it's also quite funny because so the fish room and all the fish are in the garage. So, but then people, of course, they ring the doorbell. So I open the door, and I usually open the door, and people are like, "Yeah, we're here for the fish." Um, and it's like, "Oh yeah," and then I'm like, "Yeah, okay, come right, we're going to the garage," and they kind of like shocked that it's me. They thought like, "Oh, it must be his father or mother," and not
Yeah.
himself. So they don't expect me to be the one. So that's quite funny. Um, and so yeah, people are just sometimes amazed by that, and people really, I always have discussions about like how I did this at like a young age, and how I'm combining it with school and other stuff, and how I even did it and stuff. So I'm basically telling the story on repeat, which gets a bit boring after a while because I'm literally just repeating myself, especially if I have like a couple of customers in one day. It gets like a bit,
Yeah.
because it is the same story over and over. um and so it's pretty interesting. I can see Harry said, does turning from hobby to business change the way you look at fish keeping? I think it does. It and I've said this before on my live streams, and I've said this to people, is like, back when you first had your first tank, and you went to the fish shop, and you were like looking for fish, choosing your fish. And I mean, maybe it's still the case with like you, Adam, because you only have limited tanks. And it's
Yeah.
like you're really excited to get that fish, and you're really excited about it, and like, oh, I've got that fish, and it's like really cool. And like I mean, we've all had that for sure, or still have got that. But that now, because I've kept so many different types of fish, and that now I basically have all the fish that I would ever want, it's like it's not for me exciting anymore to go into a fish shop. Or it's like I don't have that excitement anymore when I
Mm.
set up a new tank, which is kind of a shame in a way, because um you know, but there again, that's not only down to the business side, because that also already happened when I had like a full fish room just breeding fish. It was the same type of deal because I had a lot of different types of fish. I would say when it is still exciting is whenever I order fish and I get a new type of fish on the list. That's exciting. Like I can
Mm.
remember when I started uh buying betters from the wholesaler, it was like really exciting to see which different color variants and which types came in. Because you can't always specifically order the one you want, you know. Um, so, and I think that's really, that was like that's still like the exciting part, and also like a little while back, I was getting some goldfish in just to try, and that was like exciting to see the goldfish. It's like anything. I think I worked with anything really, but anything new is exciting. But if you've been doing the same thing for a long time, then it gets, well, not boring, but it loses the excitement, you know. Um,
You know.
so it's yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. You know. um. So I think yeah, that's pretty much it. You know, it's. I say it again. um.
You've been around Adam too long.
It's not
But
that.
it's just yeah. So when you get new fish, it's exciting, and sometimes it can be exciting to go to like a new fish shop you've never been to before just to see everything. But usually it's just the same things that you've seen in other places, you know. So it's yeah. um you know.
This will be an ongoing joke for the end of days now, all because Fish Up Matt decided to comment that, you know. But yeah, that was like a great answer, as Harry said. Like it was a good open-ended, honest answer. I think like either working in a fish shop or I think like Arnold, like I think at one point when you were talking about the whole aspect of selling your own fish and stuff like that, it ends. I expect merch, of course. Sorry, there will be. Just need demand for it. I'm sure there will be after a couple more lives of me saying, uh, yeah, Arnold, yourself, like you were saying, you breathe and sell fish and stuff like that. And I guess the only excitement now is it's the same thing of you've never kept this fish before. It'd be cool to breed this and profit off it, but it can take away from it. Like I remember the first time, the first week of working in the fish shop, and we had limited space, and I had to clear the tank of a fish that had like an incurable disease, and it was taking up tank space, and like it was like one of them that it was like an eye opener. I was like, oh my god, we're like wiping this tank out of fish, but like there was nothing else we could do. Like we'd done everything that we could, and it was like okay, goodbye. And when you're a hobbyist and then you're going into the selling or the retail side of things, and then it does take away that slight bit. And I guess people who run in fish shops, I used to always ask, and I don't ask it anymore. Oh, how many tanks at home? They go, oh, I've got like one maybe, or I don't even have any because this is all I see now. So I guess this is them having the shops or yourself having your own shop or business. That's all it is now, and that
Yeah.
the enjoyment is seeped away in that kind of
Yeah.
sense. And I think people brought this up too, and I'll round back round now to a topic for a group topic, saying about that how y- YouTube struggles kind of things, I guess, and like how's everyone's difficulty with fish keeping alongside YouTube. How's that been for everyone? Because I know my friend AV and even myself, I found early on when you're pumping out content so much, your brain, it's hard to differentiate your brain from wanting to get good quality videos out, but also wanting to just get videos out. And then does it affect your fish keeping? Because I find it hasn't for me, luckily, because I've been a bit like not mature, but like I've kept on it, and I haven't allowed it to control what fish I have in my tank or whatever. I already wanted the fish that I've got in my tank. Obviously, it did influence the choice of fish, but not enough for me to go, all right, I need a new fish next week or this or whatever. It has influenced me to push more, well, to set up a tank with my girlfriend, to set up tanks for friends. But like overall, it's been a good experience. But obviously, you can suffer with burnout after a while, because I know I've suffered with burnout, and until recent, where I started writing things down, it gave me a new life. I found that I was leaving it last minute. I said to Arnold the other night, I was sat there and I threw a video together in like an hour or two, which was mental. Edited it all, got all the music, all the voice. It was all just like I left it, and I guess that's part of ADHD too, where you leave it last minute to have the sense of urgency. Um, I'll give you the dilemma that I had before I got that Peer Aquatic store out, which is done very well, by the way. 5K. Thank you very much, everyone. I finished work. I'd already filmed the video early in the week, but I left it, and I finished work at 5. I got home at 5:45. On the way out of work, colleagues were like, "Do you want to go for the drinks?" I was like, "Yeah," but I was like, "I'm gonna go home first, have my tea, and then I'll come back." So go home, tea's in the microwave. I'm getting changed. I've got the video there. I edited it all. Had it all the music, everything like that. Cut the bits out of Dead Fish, bar one. Oops. And then got it uploaded, and then I left, and I was in town for not even 7:30. Like I was in town for 7:20. So I had an hour, not even an hour, to get it all edited and uploaded, and I did. It's not healthy. It's not healthy.
No, I'll tell you one thing I've learned is definitely quality over quantity.
Yes.
And I'll tell you why, because I've literally, what you're saying right now, I experienced about a year ago from now. Because about a year ago from now, no, actually a bit like 1.5 years ago from now, it was back in December 2022. I said to myself, I'm gonna each week upload 2 new videos, one on Wednesday and one on Saturday.
Mm.
And I did that, and it went well for a month, 2 months. But then it comes to the point where you're running out of ideas. What do I need to make a video about? I don't have that much stuff going, or like, well, I have stuff, but like, is it interesting? And then I saw it was like, it wasn't doing anything positive to the channel, really.
Mm.
And so then it was like, you know what? I'm going to reduce to 1 video per week, and then I can do better quality videos, because what I was doing before is like, if I had like a breeding tutorial, I would split it into like 3 videos. And then now what I do, I will put it all in one nice big video, which is good quality, has a lot of all the good stuff. And it's just in one thing, because then people can find it in search and all those places, and they can see quality instead of, oh, I just put this quickly together and just to get it out. Because
Yeah.
I'm also like quite OCD with like specific like routines and stuff, as some people will know. It's like my live streams, they have to be, at least on the Thursday, have to be 2 hours, but they can't go too much over 2 hours. It's just a OCD thing. And it's the same with like the videos. I have to get a video out every Saturday now by at 3 o'clock. That's just standard, because some people are expecting it, and it's like routine and it's scheduled. So, but then I had that with the 2 times a week as well. So I was really pushing myself, and with school and other stuff and work, it was actually really difficult. I was kind of burning myself out there. So then it was like, I can't do this. I need to reduce, and that's what I did then. So yeah.
How about yourself, Keith?
To be honest, like I find it's hard to kind of like, because I'm quite limited for space now compared to in the last house. I had like a 15 by 12 foot room full of big tanks, so I could kind of just get what I want and do what I want. But like in here, I'm quite limited for space, and the tanks aren't exactly, for me. They're not ideal for the type of fish. Not all the fish I'm interested in, so I'm kind of like having to say, well, do I get this fish? Do we do that with the tank, and does that make for a good YouTube video? And it's marrying the space to what I'm interested in, to what will do well on YouTube as well, kind of thing. And trying to figure out like a mixture of the three. It'd be great if like I had a lot more space because I could just do bigger and better things. But channel's only small. I'm still, the way I see it, I'm still starting out. Like the things will grow over time, but at the moment, I'm just kind of trying to do the best I can with the limited space, and obviously um, finding things that people will find interesting and watch. That's like the biggest thing I've found at the moment.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've got this mental idea of the fact that I want a video out weekly. I do shorts daily. I do 1 or 2 lives a week. I know that I have to do a minimum at least 1 live a week. And I mean, I did have burnout not long ago where I'd like really thought I think I'd even said to Arnold, and I think I said to a couple of people, I'm not gonna upload. That's it, not uploading, done. And then
Yeah,
suddenly out of nowhere, I was like, I cannot leave it because I've got this issue where if I leave it and break, like Jack was saying about the routine, um, if you break the routine, the whole structure will fall down, and that's it. And
yeah,
that's the fear I've got, I guess, of if I don't do it, I'll never do it.
that makes perfect sense with me. That like that's what I'm like. If I don't do something religiously, if it doesn't become a habit, I just switch off and I'm on to something else. So
Exactly.
it's important. Like, and a thing that happened to me not long ago was I done a wall start hack video, and at the time I was putting out shrimp content. And Glenn from GB Shrimp, I went on his group and I was like, I'm kidding myself. I know nothing about shrimp compared to these people. These are like the people I was talking to. I thought I'd gone on to do a bit of like research, and these guys just schooled me. And I thought I can't have the audacity to go on YouTube and talk about that when these people know so much. So I put that Wallstad hack video out, and it just took off. I think in like the
Yeah.
first night, it got 2,500 views, and I was like, "Wow, there's something in this." And then 3 days later, I put another video out, and that flew as well. So then I got myself into a thing of thinking I need to put a video out every time the last video's slowing down, and it just burnt me out massively. And I got
Mm,
at the end of that run, I was like, I can't do it anymore. I'm just going to stop
yeah.
making videos. And I thought, you know what, rather than stop, I'm just going to keep up one out. And although the channel slowed down a lot, I stuck to it. You know what I mean? If I had to stop then, like I felt really burnt out. But if they stopped, I couldn't keep that momentum going, even though the channel was flying compared to what I'd done. I just thought if it stopped, like you say, I'd never got back into it. So I just
Yeah.
made myself made one video a week.
Yeah, I think it's a sense of routine, and I think obviously Arnold at the minute he was saying that you'll get a video out when you can, kind of thing. Like you don't have the pressure, the added pressure. Obviously, you're on lives very frequent. Like I think more than any of us combined. You're on everyone's channel, mate. You're the star guest of everyone's
Yeah, but he
live for
doesn't do
sure.
his own lives yet. We need him to
Yeah,
do
we
his
need
own
an
live.
Arnold live.
Do you know, I thought you would say something like that, Jack. I thought you'd say something like that.
Like you're giving everybody the work, but you're not getting any credit for it yourself. Basically.
Um,
You know
never
what?
mind.
I absolutely love the lives.
Arnold's
I love
definition
the
is
fact
sharing
that
his
they
caring.
go on, Ed.
Sorry, I was about to say Arnold's whole definition, how he sees the bigger picture, is sharing his caring.
Yeah, definitely. I love the lives because like everyone's there watching and they can comment straight away. So you can interact with them there and then rather than sitting there thinking, I wonder how they took that video, I wonder whether they enjoyed that. Do you know
Mm,
what I mean? So like to have the audience there, like the people who are watching there commenting, like that's the best thing about YouTube for me.
Mm,
mm,
yeah. It's funny to see also the different audiences, like people that I have people on my channel who only watch live streams. Then I've also got people who only watch the videos, and even people who only watch the shorts. And you've also
Yeah,
got some, of course, who watch everything. But it's like sometimes you have certain people who watch, and it's like whatever. Like some people like prefer different things and different styles, of course. Um, but it's yeah, it's June is saying I got jacked yesterday and I liked it.
I don't
She's
know what that's meant to mean, by the
she,
way. That's why I've
she's
been putting my face.
she's talking about she was saying yesterday because she came second in the quiz and she said
Oh,
now something like, oh, now I can say I got jacked today.
okay. I was so like, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, like Harry saying here. Harry, obviously, if you don't know, I met Harry through literally as I was said to you earlier. I met him through a comment. I commented on Fish Up Matt's like Instagram post like a couple months ago, and Harry followed me account, and he was liking my post for a while, and then like I think he commented saying, "Oh, I've got a couple tanks," and I was like, "Oh, have you?" I was like, "Let me have a look," and like I was expecting like I don't know like a SpongeBob pineapple with like 10 goldfish and like a 30 litre or something, and he sent these like beautiful aquascape tanks. I was like, huh? I was like, I said, can I come up and like see them? He was like, yeah. So I filmed them. And like whilst I was there, I was like, mate, you need to share. Like, oh, okay, I'm making a video on it, but like, you need to share like your tanks to the world because like you've been doing this for 8 months and you're clear than like a lot more people that have been doing this for like 10 years or 20 years. Like, how all his tanks are aquascape, all the fish in his tanks are breeding, and this is no effort. He's just got them there, and they're doing the thing. And I'm like, how? Like that's what blew my mind. So obviously Harry's been doing his own content, and he's saying it's like he's finding it a challenge at the minute to get into the algorithm. You know, it's 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 a thing with it's finding the right thing. I'll say this openly. I've looked across different YouTube channels because you've got to do your research and see what's working and what isn't. The
Yeah.
thing that's helped me the most, and I think I've spoke to you about it, Keith, is that give your channel an identity, and Jack's very good at doing that as well. Shout out to Jack, literally there. I had a glance at Jack's channel, and I was like, your channel's doing well. I've looked at all the other people, and you've got a specific theme, and so's like the likes of MD. MD's got this like he's got a yellow text in all his thumbnails, and like you've got Fish Up Matt, and he's got like these very like illustrated kind of like arty kind of looking
Yeah.
thumbnails, and then you look at Jackson, he's got a lot of blue and like a specific text. So like I was like, this is working well. How can I do my version of it? So I used the same font and the same glowing text as like what my logo is, and I've put that across. So before then, I just had like a basic outline text, and it was doing okay, but like the inconsistency in views was it was ridiculous. Like one video would be like 3K, and then the next 4 or 5 would be like 100 or not even 100. I'd be like, what am
Yeah.
I doing wrong? So across the board, I used the same. I used tags are really good if you're not using tags, but the same style of font, the same whatever your identity that you want with your content, that works the most. I think because once I done that overnight, I done that. I woke up the next day and I seen all my videos suddenly were starting to get views. And I think the algorithm really likes that if
Mm.
someone clicks on one video, it'll add your next video on, or someone will click on your video as a viewer and they'll see the next video because they'll relate your videos to what that font is or that text. So then it'll be the
Yeah.
next to the next to the next, and it gives
Yeah.
your whole
It's
channel an identity.
Yeah, it's basically because I still have the same thing where some videos will literally do really well and other videos will just like not do that well. And it's like, in the YouTube studio you got like it gives you this score like 1 out of 10 or two, something out of 10, and it like
Yeah.
compares to other videos with the views. And it's like one week you'll have 1 out of 10 and then another week you'll have again 1 out of 10 and then it'll be all of a sudden 10 out of 10. It's like, what did I do wrong, um, and I know for sure, like, and it still sometimes is quite disheartening when you see that because you're like, I put so much effort and work into that. And it's usually also the videos that do the best are the ones I've just like done no work for that, just put that together, boom, done, I'll upload it. And it's like the ones I worked hours on, like hours, are like they don't get any views.
It's like I threw that pier one together, as I said, like within less
Yeah.
than an hour, 5K, warm.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
loads of new subscribers, like, what the hell? And then
I
I'll
know.
do like a tank setup, spent ages on it. I've like
Yeah.
actually bought a tank and made it for the video as well.
Mhm.
Oh, guess what? Yeah, here's one. Not even 1K.
Exactly.
But I
It's
remember the Pandagora video done early on, and that was sat on nothing for so long. It was like 70 views. And
Mm.
then, obviously, as I was saying earlier, changing the thumbnail completely changed the whole dynamic of my channel, because across the board now, on a daily, videos are getting views because of it.
Yeah.
That's what's
No,
working.
it's definitely. I would say if your branding is consistent, then say somebody finds your channel for the first time in a search. So they search for something, they find it, click on your video, watch a little bit, do not subscribe. Okay. Then the next time they may be on their YouTube homepage, they'll see another recommended video from you, but they know instantly it's from that same YouTuber because the branding is the same, like the font is the same, the colors are the same, and they know exactly. Oh, that's like say like when you go onto your YouTube homepage and say, for instance, MD Fish Tanks, you can see straight away that it's a video from MD without even seeing the channel name. Like you see it straight away, right?
Yes.
Or at least that's for me the case, you know. So and or say take I don't know if you guys watch Mr. Beast, for example, you know.
Yeah, I haven't in a long time, but go on.
Okay, but same thing, really. You can see straight away that's a video from Mr. Beast. Like,
Yes.
it
Yeah.
stands out. And I mean, that takes a lot of effort and trial and error and practice and experience, I guess. But just getting everything like your branding consistent, I think that really does help.
I think I'm just
Yeah.
gonna have to change my channel name to,
You know,
You know,
you know that.
that. He's
and
Eh,
and
Right.
Melvin saying that my new catchphrase is, "Let me tell you." Let me tell you. It's like
Shane from Hertz Koi or Tanks and Fish, he's made you. Hang on.
That's
Yeah.
great. Adam 7,
Right.
I'll never be able to escape this now. It's too late. It's imprinted. Right, I've got one more. I've run through everyone's questions. I've got one more, and then we're open for Q&A with the chat. I know obviously people have been throwing things in the chat, and we haven't been ignoring you. Obviously, we're trying to run through a lot of different topics, and we have answered the odd few. So I do apologise in that sense. So we'll finish with this final question before the Q&A. What is the hardest plant to keep alive?
Okay, I'll do it. Floating plants. For me. Okay? I've had a love-hate relationship with floating plants. Now, duckweed, of course, you can't kill duckweed. But I'm not talking about duckweed. I'm talking about like Salvinia natans and like mini waterlets, those type of things, or redwood floaters.
Yes.
It's really interesting because what I then I buy a little pot and I'd have it in there. I put it in the tank. It does really well for about a month. And then after that, it's like I take a bit out because it's overgrown. And then it just like decides I'm just going to die off and everything dies off. So I haven't had floating plants for a long time now because they've just, every time they've eventually died off. And I really just don't know why or how. So yeah, because usually floating plants should be so easy, you know? But what I think one of the points is because I was keeping them also with fish that like high temperatures, like discus, angelfish, that type of thing. The temperatures was high, and I think like the floating plants don't like high temperature for some reason. Because in my ponds, there again, I had them in ponds, and they do fine in ponds. It's like outside, but just for some reason when they are inside my tank and it's like enclosed, they don't like it with me. I don't know.
I've highlighted this one because this is the one that I was going to say.
Kill
Will you
Linda
believe-
Feeler.
How the hell do you do that?
How?
Right.
I don't know. It just I don't know.
Come on, look.
And
Well,
I was laughing with Harry about this last night. He said, you have to tell the world about this." I don't know how.
we're all friends. We're all friends. You can tell us.
I don't know. I put it in the tank and it just doesn't live. It just dies. Like I'll agree with Jack. Floating plants are definitely a difficult one. But at the minute, I've found one that's bulletproof to flow, no matter how much flow I put on it. Frogbit is basically the second duckweed for me because
Hmm?
I'm having to clear it out after a couple of days. But red roof floaters, I had them off Harry. They just died. They're very weak. But Limnifolia sessiflora can't keep it alive.
Yeah. I think it is. It's definitely got to do something with like everybody's water, because plants. It's really the type of water you have does determine what plants work well for you. I remember MD made a video about it with or what's his name again from Aquarium Gardens. What's his name? Can anybody help me? The guy who runs Aquarium Gardens.
I know who you're
Um,
on about.
Oh, anyway, he went there to visit, for a few times, and they were talking about plants and stuff. And he was saying like the reason why you see like all plants do well is because he's chosen the plants that do well for him, and he has also certain plants that just do not do well for him, but he just doesn't choose to use them because he knows that they don't do well for him. So I think it's just also depending on your water and stuff, and like you just need to try out what does work for you and just go with that, and things that don't work, just don't use them, and simple as that, really. I think.
Yeah,
So
it's funny because a lot of people say Monte Carlo is one of the hardest plants to keep. I've got it in a shrimp bowl. I don't use ferts. I don't do water changes, and it isn't even planted in the substrate. It's an epiphyte, and it's grown on the wood, and it's thriving. But then the hygrophila in there and the Limnifolia sessiflora decided to go. So I don't get it. It's the Monte Carlo of all things has survived. And I remember when I was in something fishy, Andy, who works there, he's a great guy. He was like, "Yeah, it's a risk. I wouldn't really do it. Like choose something else." I was like, "No, like, I'll try the Monte Carlo."
mm,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's worked. It's crazy.
yeah. I remember now. It's Dave. I think Dave from Aquarium Gardens.
Ah, okay.
I think
Is your
Dave. Yeah.
is your water hard there? I don't think it is. It's the same. Well, actually, no, you know what? I think my water's slightly different to yours, Keith, because I think I was having a conversation with Andy that I think it's either you where you are or where I'm from. We're supposed to be getting the same water supply, but as of recent, they've changed it. So we used to get it from a river in Wales, uh, like supplying you and over here. But recently it's changed now, so I might have slightly different water parameters. But I don't think it's even that. I just think the plant itself isn't taken because I'm able to keep super mini red, Hygrofield, Roosevelt. Until recent, until the setup, I guess it's just been the setups I've had because I've got Valsinaria now growing as well. So I don't know. I used to always struggle with red tiger lotus, but yeah, red tiger lotus always does amazing for like months, and then suddenly he'll just die, and then that's it. He'll never return. He'll just become a soft bulb. What about yourself, Arnold? What's the hardest plant for you?
Hygrophila pinnafinata.
That's apparently an easy one as well.
Yeah. Pain in the
Welcome,
youngsters. I can't keep that. But then, if you do research, it does better being attached to wood.
Oh, Pinnatifida.
Yeah,
Wait, I'm sorry. Yeah, I actually agree. Sorry, I fully agree with you. I've tried this plant multiple times because I've watched MD use it, and it's like it's red, isn't it, under bright light, and it just doesn't live. It's never lived for me. It just gets attacked by algae and dies.
You've got to have a nice bit of wood for it to be attached to.
Yeah, and I've attached it to
yeah.
wood, I've attached it to rock, and I've planted it in substrate. It just never lived.
And And the other one is Hygrophila siamensis. Oh, that's
Simon's,
that's
sorry,
hard.
I think
Yes,
that's what I was getting confused then, because I think you've told me this before. Simensis is meant to be the easy one, and Pinna is actually a hard one.
but my
Yeah.
my pH coming out of my tap is 6.5.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah,
Mm, that's
Oh,
very.
you need to get breeding those discus, eh?
I know.
You got perfect water. Like
I
I'm
know.
jealous. Like my pH out of the tap is 7.5 to 8.
So when I send you that palette of Oscars, I can give you a
Send me
couple of
yeah, a bit of
send you some of my
water.
water.
Yeah.
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 Right. So that is all the questions that I've got written down. Before we get into Q&A, did anyone write any questions down or got any questions for myself or anyone in the group at all?
I can think of one.
Okay.
How long have you been keeping fish now? Or when did it start for you?
Me?
Yeah.
5 years. I was like, I was 18. So I've kept goldfish and all stuff like that when I was younger. But for some reason, I used to have an obsession with golden tench and wanted to keep them in a tank, which is a no-no. But I've kept fish for 5 years now, going towards 6. I was in uni, and before I even started keeping fish, I was obsessed with the fish videos already. I think I'd walked into a Pets at Home, um, and I'd been watching aquarium co-op videos, and I was like, "Oh, fighter fish, they're ruthless, whatever." And the woman in the Pets at Home was like, "Yeah, you're right, by the way." I was like, "Oh, maybe I know something." And then like I started watching a lot more videos and like just being a sponge to all the content and trying to what did I do at uni? Film and television production, biggest waste of my time in my life, by the way. Um, yeah, waste.
Why?
You because the degree means nothing, and I remember the first week I was in there, and they were like, "By the way, you don't need this degree to get a job in the industry." I was like, "Oh, thanks a lot." I just went for the sake of it. Anyways, back to topic. Although I've worked the film industry, but it's very inconsistent. So here I am working retail and making fish videos. But yeah, basically, I I was in uni, first year uni. I got my first loan, oh no, second loan, sorry, and it was around the January, and always had this back and forth since I was a kid with my mum. After the goldfish we had died, she's like, "No more tanks." And I was like, "I'm getting a fish tank." She's like, "No, you're not." I was like, Okay, sound, I will." I walked up to Pet at Home on Edge Lane, if Keith knows, and
Yeah.
if Scoutskaper knows. I walked up to Pet at Home on Edge Lane. I was like, "Right, I want a tank." And I seen this kit, and it was like a kit that has white strips going across, and it looks like they've all got lights, but only one of them strips has lights. So there you go. It looked a lot better than it was, but it come with a filter and it come with a heater. And I took that home, I set it up, I put gravel in, I whacked that SpongeBob pineapple right in the middle and thought I was boss. Put Bacopa, I think it was Bacopa at the time, yeah. I had Bacopa and I think I had a Rotala as well. And I didn't know what to do with them. I didn't know how to plant either. It was the Tropica plants that come in like they don't do it anymore,
The
but they used to be
gel.
like not even the gel. It's not once you grow. Um,
Oh.
it comes in like this like basket, like a little basket kind of thing, out of like wheat or whatever it was. Like it was this like knitted together
You
kind of.
mean were they like the packaged plants, like
Yeah,
pre-packed? Yeah, I
but
know what you mean. Yeah.
it weren't rock wool or anything like that. It was like this.
No. Yeah,
Um,
I know what you mean. It's like it it in a sense it looks a bit like cocoa fiber, like some coconut
mm,
fiber-ish. I think it's yeah, something like that. Yeah.
and I whacked that into gravel. Funny enough, no fates, no nothing. The plants were grown. So I started watching videos. Started trimming the plants and whacking them in different corners, and they grow. I think you're right. Pure and shrimp pulp, coconut husk.
Yeah,
Um,
something like that. Yeah.
but yeah, put them in, and I waited a week because they told me to wait a week. and I got myself 3 neon tetra, and one of them died. Not neon, cardinal, because they said neons are worse than cardinal, and and cardinals are easier than neons. Which I do kind of agree with. So it weren't the worst advice. They said cycle the tank for a week, and then you're not allowed multiple fish again. So I was. Here's the thing. This is why I don't like slander the hell out of Petterone, because when if I look back now, I didn't actually get the worst off advice. It weren't great, but it weren't bad either. They said you can start with a couple. So I think that basically I was doing a fishing cycle early on, and I got 3 cardinals, and one of them had a bent back and died like a day or 2 later, and I cried, genuinely cried. I was like, oh my god, I'm meant to be looking after this fish, and it's just died. And then I ended up going back in there. I was like, right, I've seen videos on guppies. I want some guppies. So I got guppies. There was 2 male guppies. They harassed the neon tetras and killed them because they didn't have a female to breed with. And then they harassed each other and killed each other. And then it just built up from there. Obviously, over time, I started learning more things. So then I ended up getting, I got rid of the guppies. I got more cardinals. And then I got Amano shrimp. And the Amano shrimp were fine. I got some coolie loach, all in this 33 litre, if that. Then I got swordtails. And then I added a male fighter fish into that. And then I quickly realised when I come home one day, and when the fight fish swam over to me like a puppy with a Amano shrimp ripped in half in its mouth, that I may have made the wrong decision. So then I added more rocks and more plants, and it was a bit more bushier then, and like it looked better, but it still had that SpongeBob pineapple. And at that point, I come in a couple of days later, and a cardinal had an eye missing, and I was like, oh. And then I seen the fighter profusely hunting down this one cardinal, and I was like, okay, right, I need a bigger tank. So I upgraded to the Fluval Flex, and the fighter was fine, and then it got dropsy. That was probably one of my first like hard parts in the hobby of losing the fish, because beta fish or fighter fish themselves are like very personable fish. Like they recognize you. They always swim up to the glass, always begging for food. They've got personalities. I trained man to jump out the tank for food. I had like tweezers and I put like flake above the tank and it jump out for the flake. I've got videos of it. And yeah, from then on, it just like kind of over time, I was absorbing more information and upgrading the tank, and then I started Aquascape, and then I had like obviously when I went to the flex, I had black sand and stuff like that, and eventually it just went on, and then you can see if anyone's moderating right now, you can put my fish keeping evolution. Like I started from there, and over time learned so many things, and having wipeouts and having mistakes, and I learned the mistake of I was treating the tank. When the fighter died, I thought there was an issue with the tank, so I started treating medication to the tank. I didn't have a lot of flow coming out to the pump that come from the original flex. So eventually, obviously the treatment was killing plants off, which if you don't know, that's a thing that happens. And I didn't have an air stone in. Oh, I think I did have an air stone in, and I put the air stone into a container. I was treating the fish. I woke up next day, or what was left was gasping. The rest were dead on the bottom because they were deprived of oxygen. And there's so many things that obviously you make a lot of mistakes early on to then get to a point where you realise that there's so many things that could have been prevented, but you learn and you find out.
Yeah.
Thanks, by the way, used to having a little battle on who to put the link first.
I could see him going like trying to be the fastest, and I was like,
yeah,
there
look,
you go.
white flag. I'm stopping.
He surrenders. If you're ever
I
in the shop, he's
surrender. I
like,
can't do it anymore.
he's tapping out.
You and your little
I
finger
don't even know if
devil.
there's anyone else moderating. Yeah, there's Harry, but the use were there before, and use it on the panel. But yeah, that was kind of how my journey went. Obviously, I went on a bit of a tangent, but obviously in that video, a lot of people requested that video, and I really enjoyed that. That's a video again that I put a lot of time into, and funny enough, in that video, all them images, all them videos, all the details and the goods in that video. I'm lucky that I'm the type of person that likes to document things, because I went on YouTube. This was all before, so all of that's in that video, and like I talk about the wipeouts and I show the footage and the pictures of what happened, and like that's probably one of my favorite videos because it shows before to now. Like I think a lot of people only know now maybe the scaper or the back end of when I had that flex, but there was a lot more than back then. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was my journey anyway. I started 5 years ago, and I don't think I'm gonna stop. I'm addicted. It's been addicted ever since. It's one of them. I think people phase
Yeah.
in, and I don't think I will.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I can't see myself ever stopping with keeping fish. Like how I don't know. I really don't. Well, even so, I've spoken. Also, I do have some customers. Like, they say, "Oh yeah, I used to keep fish, then I stopped for a while, but now I need to keep fish again because it's just something in you that you need to. Once you've kept fish, you well maybe there's like a limited number of people, but they haven't really kept fish. The people
Mhm.
who quit forever haven't really kept fish, or they don't know what they're doing really.
Yeah, they'll have like a couple mollies or platties for the
Exactly, and
tank.
they die, and then
Yeah,
it's like, yeah, it's like you. But if you've put some effort into like learning some things about fish and basic things, then I don't think you'll ever quit. Or yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
See, one of
any
the
more?
things I've learned touching on that is I've met people who've been keeping fish their whole life and they don't know nothing. And then I've met young lads who like have just absorbed it like a sponge, like Luke Scoldies.
Yeah,
Hmm.
So, like I remember when he first started and he had like a little greenhouse beside of his thing and he bought a little pond for it and he just knew his stuff. And I was like, how's this lad know so much? Like so young. When some of the people I was talking to were keeping goldfish for like 20, 30 years and didn't know half of what he knew when he was like, he was probably still in school when he was making them videos. And I was like,
yeah,
Yeah.
this guy's gonna nail it.
Mm. Yeah, no, definitely, and I think I'm also like when I used to be small, like, or well, small, younger. I was always like, I watched a ton of videos, like YouTube videos and things, because I just found it interesting to learn about all different types of things, and especially like animal and fish related. Um, like I can also talk about animals for hours on end. Like, like people will say like, how have you got so much to say about like rabbits or about birds or dogs or something like that. So, and it's just I think I've been lacking on that a little bit lately. Is in the beginning I really done like a lot of like watching videos, reading articles about fish, and trying to expand my knowledge. And now I've like kind of slowed down because you know you think then you know a lot, but actually in reality it's not. You don't really know, or like there's so much more that you can, and you can see like I'm kind of not losing it, but like I need to get back to learning, or there is more to learn, um isn't it like a saying like, when you think you know it all, you find out you don't know anything at all, or something.
yeah.
That this is some kind of saying, isn't that? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
It's,
a point that I said in like the video that with me last video. It was one of them that this hobby. It's always oh,
hmm,
everyone's still there. We just had like a little buffer, didn't we? Then, um,
yeah.
yeah, I put the point across that the hobby's always evolving. There's always something
Hmm,
that you don't know, and you're always learning every day. Whether it's looking in your tank, or whether it's a comment on a video, or whether it's a live that you've done or a live that you've watched, you're always finding something out. And even if you go to fish shop, they probably hate me in all my local fish stores because I'm always going in and I'll be there for an hour and a half. A fish trip is a day trip for me because I'm spending the day going there and then I'll be there
yeah.
for ages because I'm still there plucking people's mind, and I'll be there, and I'll also know when I go into a place that I've never been to before that sometimes I find myself asking questions to find out if they know what they're on about. By the way, oh damn, we've gone up by 4. Yeah, so I'm always picking the brain, trying to find out more, or I'm picking the brain, seeing if they know something. So then I'll know where they're at and if I'm getting the right advice or the wrong advice. But
Mm.
it's one of them. You'll know when a person knows what they're on about because they'll have you there at gunpoint for an hour talking about something that they're very passionate about.
Yeah.
But yeah, any more questions to one another or myself, or before we get into Q&A with people in the chat?
No, I'm all good, mate.
Sound, yeah.
Let's do it.
We've been going there 2 hours 20. By the way, that's crazy. Right, everyone, get your questions in. Q&A time. See, I have my banner sorted, lads.
What's
They're
your,
there. I just haven't been clicking on them.
what's your favourite washing machine?
Wash.
Jack doesn't know what an old.
You look like General Palpatine now.
Oh, Arnold, I can't believe he done that. It would,
Arnold, you threw me under the bus, lad. Oh,
Hot point.
mate.
Someone put hot point.
Everyone knows about it. But Jack's in the darkness.
Yeah.
That's right, Jack. You don't need to know about that.
Even I'll tell you after the live, mate, because I don't want to give it any more hot point than it needs.
Boop, bop, boop, bop, boop.
I'll put it like this, Jack. I've got a big fan, and I've had a big fan. That's it. I won't go into it anymore because if they're in the chat, they're gonna be like, he's talking about me, and I'm so excited.
Harry's saying Elvis is in the building.
I forgot to say he loves Elvis too. Anyways.
Yeah, Q&A time.
Right, everyone, Q&A time. No more washing machines at Elvis. MS. Bloody hell, it's been a while since I've seen you make a live. Arnold. Question for you.
Question for me.
Yes.
yeah.
Where did you see the business in 5 to 10 years?
I get this question a lot as well, actually. And I think, I don't know if my answer might be different each time. I'm not sure. But I think, well, it's so okay. Let's start with 5 years. Yeah. Okay, 5 years time from now, we'll have at least one fully running shop, with staff. So I'm not on my own because also the YouTube channel would have taken off, and I'll be like working on that a lot. And then 10 years, I would say maybe another shop, or maybe two, more shops. And then I think I eventually want to make it like wholesale scale, like that big, like not just fish shop, but like wholesale, like, because there's actually, I've got to say, there's a shortage of wholesalers in the Netherlands. There's only two wholesalers in the Netherlands. That's it. So there is like a gap there where there's not, there's only two wholesalers in the Netherlands. So I think I could, maybe sneak in there as well. And I think what will be interesting is to see, from the YouTube, like already now, I've basically, got people from all over the world watching. And so I've got I'm in contact with people from all over the world. So I can I think like sourcing and stuff will become easier actually with the YouTube channel because you already have that broad like spectrum of people that you can like that can like help you, or um so yeah, I fully expect to be ordering plants from JTU in the next 10 years. Well, yeah, probably, yeah, by then, yeah, easily. Yeah, although it depends how it is with Brexit and stuff, and yeah, it depends. Because if it costs too much to import, or like to thingy bob fees, what are they called? I know the Dutch word. What's the English word? Border control, or no, what's the word? Border control. What's the word?
Oh,
Rishi
box
Sunak.
charges.
Huh?
Box charges.
No, like, oh, let me see.
Import fees.
Yeah, customs. That's the word I'm looking for. Customs.
Yeah.
Like customs fees, or like stuff like, if there's really problems with that, then maybe not, because I don't know. Can you currently get in the UK, like, can you order from plants from outside the UK?
Yeah, I think we can with Aquafleur. I love how I
Right,
pronounced that, by the way.
but that's wholesaler.
Mm.
So that's not like shop, or like, you can't buy from Aquafleur, right?
I think we can,
No.
yeah.
No, but you can go to a shop and buy Aquafleur plants there, but you can't buy directly from Aquafleur, right? Because you're not a business.
Oh, you have to be a registered business, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
have
no,
to be.
hang on. Because Scoutscaper knows, because he's planning on opening up his own aquascaping shop soon. He knows.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so yeah, Aquafleur is wholesale, you say. Yeah, so it's like, so yeah, you can get those things, of course, but it's like still customs and things. But I mean, like, say, take for example Green Aqua, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, they sell plants and things, but I don't think they ship to the UK with plants, at least. I mean, I don't really know, but let's have a little look actually. They might send product and stuff.
Yeah, there's a thing called plant passport. Yeah. So every time we buy a plant, it comes with a plant passport.
Same here. Shipping price.
Look who's joined us.
Oh, Matt's here. Hello, Matt.
Evening, Matt.
I think you can be sneaky, but I don't
Howdy,
believe
Matt.
you're officially allowed to import for personal use. Right.
I think if anyone would know, it'd be him, because obviously him and MD were ordering plants into. I'm not sure if he was using the shop to order plants into his studio or not, but that's easy to achieve. And anyways, business proposals sorted, or combo sorted. Any more fish keeping questions? Anyway, everyone's excited to see Matt in the chat.
I was going to say here, I've just looked. So Green Aqua, yeah, they ship to the UK, but it's in the 4th zone, and it's like with a special delivery, and it's like a high delivery shipping fee, and it's and custom fees on import. So they've put it's so yeah.
Well,
so Brexit.
We know the reason why Bucephalandra is like as expensive as a meal for a family of 4 now.
Yeah.
But yeah, Matt, you've if you do watch the replay anyway, we've had like a massive Q&A between all four of us. Like, well, not Q&A, but like obviously I've had like written down questions for everyone and topics and that. But we're now just on to the point now with everyone in the chat asking questions directly to us. Like, if you have any fish keeping or channel related questions towards us, please do ask. Obviously, if you're unaware of if you know the people in here or not, or you can ask the generalized group question as well. Just waiting for some questions to go through, of course. 10.99 for a basic boost at the local Maidenhead. Yeah.
Wow. I didn't even realise it gone that much.
Mate, it's so expensive. You can get a Nubius, but even a Nubius is expensive. I think, what is cheap? Nothing. Nothing.
So
I always spend most of my money on plants these days rather than fish.
Do you know
You know,
what? I've been looking for Crenham Natans everywhere, can't find one anywhere. I ordered one and it was Crenham Tyanum. And then I ordered another one. I was waiting, I emailed them. And 2 weeks later, I emailed them saying, "Where's my plans?" And they just cancelled the order and refunded me. I was like, "Where's my plans? I want my plans." It's still listed. If you Google now, Crenham Natans, it's listed on Google. You can buy it. It says there's 47 left. But they just cancelled my order and refunded me. I was absolutely gutted because I thought there's one person in the country with it.
That's what I mean. As Harry's saying, there, basic plants are like £5. So like, here's the thing: the fish prices aren't too bad, but the plant prices are like extortionate.
Yeah, it must be. It's like, because here, in the Netherlands, the plants are just like really cheap if you compare it to around the world. And of course, it's probably got to do with the plants that we get from Aquaflor are grown half an hour down the road, basically. Um, so of course that's going to be cheaper, and probably the import fees and stuff like that, and the custom that probably will add to the expenses there in the UK. But like here, just a regular plant I sell. Yeah, that's because you grow them. Yeah, exactly. We grow them all, so yeah, makes sense.
They're all there. They're on your doorstep. You can go
Yeah.
outside and like take a trimming, probably.
Yeah, but so like normal plants. So I have two classes basically. Normal plants I'll sell for €4 each. So like your Limnophila that you kill. Yeah.
Yeah. By the way,
Althananthera.
Matt, you missed that. I'm able to kill Limnophilia sessiflora. I don't know how, but yeah.
So all those types, and then say like Anubias and Java Fern, stuff like that. I sell those for €5 each. So, and I've got to say that is quite cheap compared to shops.
So you sell Boosh?
It depends when it's in stock. Sometimes it's not in stock, but if it is, then I'll order it in because it's quite popular. But there again, I'll probably sell that for around €5-6 per pot. So, yeah. Pants.
Smuggling pants back from Amsterdam.
What is it?
Pants. I hope.
Where did he put
pants.
that? I can't.
I reckon I can smuggle a washing machine back from Amsterdam. Inside joke. Some Tide Pods too with it. And Calvin Klein's.
When Jack said someone knocked on me door before, I was going to say, when they said, I was going to say, "Do you want to buy a washing machine, mate?" That's like, what's going on here, mate? This is like.
I'm gonna have to tell Matt about this and Jack about this in the DMs, because
I don't know what you're talking about. So
I've got a really big fan that loves washing machines and Elvis. I'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
Anyways, moving forward. Any more? Leave it alone now, Harry. Oh, Mr. G. Sorry. Why, Adam? Who are the guests tonight? I know Arnold, but who are the other two? Okay. Yeah, this is Jack, JC Keeping Fish. In everyone else's eyes, this is the big guy in the chat right now. He's got almost 6K subscribers,
Big
and then
guy.
the other two big guys. What way am I pointing? This way. I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. Keith and Arnold. King's Aquarium and Antworld as Arnold, the lovely beta breeder. He does more than that, obviously.
It's better, not beta. Come on, you're not American. Better. Better. I can give an explanation. Yeah, it's BETTA. The double T means better, not beta. Beta would be one T. I just have to. I was going to correct you like an hour ago, but now
Alpha. We've got 24 people in now whilst we're all just chatting the most waffle going. This one, Matt's come in here going, oh, Adam's been bigging up this big live. He's like, come join us. And I'm like, we're all just talking about washing machines and pants. But yeah, right. Any questions? Everyone, bring your questions in. We want questions. Ask away. We want to know, or everyone, 25 people. Where's everyone coming from? Where have you all been? Whose live have you been watching? Because I know Aquarium Adventures wasn't live tonight. His lives are usually very popular.
Yeah, he's on holidays.
So I filled the void.
Yeah, you
now,
did. Otherwise, you would have been in trouble.
Yeah, nosedive, and then obviously we got in trouble last time, didn't we?
I know.
Oh, Harry.
He was watching you live on his live stream.
He's probably like, who is this guy? Why is he trying to steal people from me live? Some scouse guy even. Who's taking pants or talking pants? I haven't got my glasses on. I'm not taking anyone's pants. Let's talk. Let's talk fish. Hear me out. Fish tank and a washing machine. Right. Topic. Who cleans their fish? Right. Talk.
He can't contain himself. Look, he's going to break down in a minute.
We had like a proper good laugh, like 2 hours 20, and then for the last 15, we've is Jack going to sing?
Oh. No, that's only on my channel, exclusive.
It's on the members only plug for Jack's members only.
Exactly.
Give him a spin in the hotspot twice weekly. I just hear Northern. What's going on? Any questions, people? You're not meant to be influencing the really bad topics. Hobbs versus canisters. Hobbs? Oh, hang on the back. Oh, yes. Okay, hang on the back of canister. I know you want this question answered, Dave. I think both are very good and have the pros and cons, but I personally prefer canisters. Although hang on the backs are good for smaller tanks. Oh, that is a very opinionated one. Hang on the backs are useless.
Well, I'll just say I've never used a hang on back filter before, and I'll also say they are not like nobody uses them in the Netherlands. Nobody.
Oh, so the true aquascapers of the world say no. So I think you've got your answer there. Cred boy.
But there again, also sponge filters do not get used in the Netherlands. Not that much. It's like, I mean, I use them because it's power efficient and it's good for your fish room. But
yeah,
I'll say that filters that get used in the Netherlands are in little internal filters and canister filters or sumps. That's it. And usually people will. It depends. Usually, like the limit is like say 100-liter tank. That's where you would switch over to a canister filter. So then you would move from internal filter to canister filter. That's usually what people would do here.
I have a canister on my 90 litre, but I also had a small canister on my 60 litre, and that it's all down. I think it's all down to stocking. Because I've had this conversation before that I think you're okay to overstock as long as the fish aren't like in each other's space and stuff like that.
What's happened?
Sorry,
Oh.
getting shouted across this house. Anyways,
I'm used to it.
It was a knock at the door, and your mum answered it, and found there was a washing machine out there.
Oh, I'm surprised he's not in it. He's been banned. That's what.
Don't talk about.
Yeah. So where was I? I think it's okay to overstock a tank as long as number one, the fish have swim room. Number two, there isn't any territorial issues, and as long as your water parameters are fine. So, aka if you're over filtrating, you can get away with it. Longevity wise, it's not good, obviously, because there's a lot of fish in close proximity. But I think, canister filters on smaller tanks. Obviously, I wouldn't put a canister filter on a 30 litre. That imagine putting a canister filter on a 30 litre with a fighter fish. That it's just so it's about
Whirlpool. Just a swimming pool, a whirlpool for them.
a long.
It looks like a washing machine in your fish tank.
Beta fish in a washing machine. Yeah, I think personally, yeah, there's the best filtration. A lot of biomedia. I think that's what's great, and it's also just good for breaking down like waste and having good beneficial bacteria. Hang on the backs, however, I think you're limited to having biomedia, and I think that's why they're a bit nice having you, Scouts. I'll see you later, Mick. That's his name. Sorry for exposing you to the internet if people don't know. But yeah,
Washing machine.
Adam, you've gone quiet. Have I gone quiet?
No, okay.
No, haven't you seen what Harry said?
Do I see a washing machine merch on the horizon?
The thing is, I don't even know what it's all.
A washing
I don't even
machine
know.
with a beta fish in the middle.
I don't even know what it's all about. So when I find out later, I'm gonna be like laughing myself. I think,
Yeah. I wish I could.
Adam's definitely not laughing inside.
No, I'm not. I don't want to see. I don't want to see them. Anyways, topic Q&A. People, it's in the corner. Ask your questions. Lad, before I go, it's better.
Better.
Exactly.
There you
better.
go. See, my girlfriend's got the good question. Keith, how many tanks have you got, lad?
How many have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 tanks at the moment. And I've got 2 outside. Another one inside that's empty. I've got a 7-footer. I can't fit through the door into this room, so that's just stuck outside. And then I've got another 5-footer with nowhere to put it. So if I can get a bigger room, I'll have more tanks.
Yeah, just knock a wall down.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. How many have you got, Jack? And then Arnold can tell us. He is the king for a reason.
I've got about the same amount as Arnold, actually. I think.
Oh,
Don't we? I think we have the same. I think I've got, what was it, 27?
27, yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
Tanks each. I think I'd lose sanity. I've only got one in a shrimp bowl and one in me, so yeah, I'm very low maintenance myself, to be honest.
Yeah.
Good question in here. Everyone's favorite fish, go.
Discus. Done.
at the moment. So I'm banging into rainbows at the moment, mate.
Arnold, I can read your mind. You know, I'm looking into it. It's one or the other. I'm thinking pipefish or beta fish.
How did you guess? How did you guess that?
So you know, the washing machine in my head told me.
You and that bloody washing machine crying out loud.
We call them fighter fish where I'm from because I used to fight them off with classmates. Oh, Jack is not paying the power bill.
That's my dad.
Oh, I haven't said mine.
So what we're trying to say is Jack wants to expand his fish room. That's what we're trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm not going to feed into any more machines that clean clothes jokes. We'll look into my tank and think what's my favorite. At the minute, my favorite fish has to be the Epistogramma Hongschloy, just because I'm biased. But I think my favorite fish overall has to be Cribensis.
Interesting.
Like, the one, the variation that I kept, of course. Although I would really like to keep the Nigerian reds, just because I don't know why, but ever since I've seen them in like the shop, the coloration was so like intriguing to me, and like I know there's so many other colourful fish as well, but it just drew my eye. Although in Pier in the shop tour I done recently, there was some wild caught cribs and they were just gorgeous. I just love like the pairing of them, like the behavior. I think I had the same behavior with Nanochromis transvestitis, which is like if you don't know, the female has got the color. That's why it's got the transvestitis name, to say that it's like opposite gender role in like the coloration and that. And they were like mini cribs, and the behavior of them is that where the male goes, the female go, and and it's like they're constantly together. You'll watch the male swim over, the female swim over, and same for it. It's when they're paired off. It's one of the best things to watch, in my opinion. Although I do love me L236.
Yeah. AKA not the zebra pleco,
No,
but look alike.
yeah, it's the
It's
Timu,
literally
the Timu zebra plaque. Yeah.
yeah. No, they are really cool.
What's going on in this chat? Why is Harry saying that? What's going?
Well,
Haha, Mia. Oh, well, it doesn't look like a zebra at all. You know what? I had an argument with someone on well, not an argument, but I had a very, you know, when you ever get into the pleco world, if you ever get in a Facebook forum and say, "What pleco is this?" you will cause a war in another country, because you say, I remember I put a post in about it was a bristle nose, but it was a juvenile, and it was sold to me as a bulldog pleco, and at the time I was quite new to the hobby. So I put it in a group chat and I went, "Oh, I just got this new bulldog pleco today," and I had people genuinely swearing at me in the comments section. They were that vexed, going, "This isn't," and this guy was like berating me. I was like, "But that's what the label was in the shop." He was like, I was like, "Who took a pee in your cornflakes? Like, why are you so angry?" Fishbook, yeah, Fishbook is something for sure. If you're ever in the groups, because you can have some of the nicest people with the greatest advice. You can have people that talk down to you, but they're still giving you advice, and then you just have some really angry, upset people in the world. So
Yeah.
that's my entertainment. If you ever want to get some entertainment, put a very out there opinion in the Facebook group chat, and
Yeah, take a
Yeah.
picture of your pleco. Take a picture
What?
of your pleco, put it on the group and say, "This is nice in a zebra," and just watch it go off.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'll do that later for entertainment. I think I'll have to turn notifications off.
That
I
washing
always
machine's
say,
coming
like,
through your window.
I did put a video in. I lost topic, but I put it. That's why Harry said that isn't a pleco. I put a video of the crack zebra pleco, the L236. That is the common name for it, the L236. And this guy said, you know, if you could, if a person was the emoji with the nerd with the glasses and the buck teeth, this was this guy. He was like, actually, this isn't a pleco. It's a hypansistris. You're wrong, in capitals. I was like, okay, but like it's common. I responded saying, yeah, its common name is crack zebra. He said, yeah, but I hate people that call it that. It's a hypansistris. I was like, chill. He's like, I breed zebra plecos. I was like, okay, you don't need to like flex on me. Like, calm down, chief.
Nice
It's
one,
just a
mate. I've got a
TikTok.
girlfriend.
You've got you. Hypansistris is a genius. Is a
not a
genius.
genius, a genius.
It's a
Genius.
genius. Yeah, it is a genus. I do understand that, and that is the actual name. But like when you go to a fish shop, it will be labelled. They don't put the L numbers. They will put it in like small or brackets, but they usually put crack zebra pleco or something along them lines. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, I think I have to go because it's nearly midnight here. So.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's been a long one for yourself.
And I have work tomorrow, so you know.
No problem. You know.
So
Yeah.
you know. I know.
Is that goodbye by everyone then, or is everyone stay until the hour?
No, I'll have to make a suit, mate.
Yeah, I'll stay till the hour for you.
Okay, we'll stay to the hour to make it a whole free. But we'll see you later anyway, Jack. Because obviously it's bedtime for you and you've got stuff to do.
Yeah,
It's completely fine.
exactly.
I'm gonna make a
got a
shift as
little-
well, guys.
Oh, sorry.
I'm gonna make a shift as well.
Oh, you off? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no worries. Then I'll see you later. Me and Arnold will stay to the hour. If you
All
know,
right, so-
you know.
If
You
know.
know, you know.
You know, you know. That I think that's a good way to sum up the live. If you know, you know. With all the inside jokes.
That's been good fun.
Yeah, definitely.
In that sense, then, if we're all wrapping up, it may as well end it with everyone instead. Then to have a good end to the live. We've had a good live. I'm not sure what you think the questions were, whether they were good or whether I was chatting waff. But I think we covered a lot of topics today, a lot of things that people would like to know. Obviously there was the odd questions here and there from people in between, but we covered a lot of things today between all four of us, and obviously we've done well because we've gone for like basically 3 hours. So shut up, Harry. So yeah, we spoke about many things today, great topics, and hopefully this isn't the last live together, or we can do one. We can do one in the future for sure. Hope everyone enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe to Jack. He'll put his link in the chat now. Make sure to subscribe to Arnold. He'll also put his link in the chat. Make sure to subscribe to Keith as well, because someone please put his link in the chat for him. And yeah, we've had a great live. Obviously, I'm not so far off 1,000 myself now. I've booked that tattoo, so that'll be
What,
next
for
month.
washing
Obviously,
machine?
yeah, I'm getting one of a washing machine, lads. It's going on the middle of my back, so there'll be a big washing machine in my back. No, it's going to be an epistogram on my bicep. I can't do that live, so apologies for everyone that wanted to see that live. It will be a time lapse video for like the 1,000 subscriber special thing anyway. So yeah, much love to everyone tonight. We've had 25 people, I think, or 26 was the highest count. So quite a lot of people in, considering my lives are usually around the 80. But yeah, usually around 15. Yeah. So yeah, we've had a lot of people. Hopefully everyone's gained some subs. I think we all have tonight. And yeah, again, we'll do this again sometime for sure.
Definitely,
Yeah, cool.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, good night to you all anyway. Good morning to you, Jack. Good night to you, lads. Take it easy. We've had a good one, and I'll end it there. So I'll let you know, Jack,
Sure, Errol.
when we end
Take
this
care,
live,
Keith.
what was going on. So
Take care,
yeah,
mate.
see you
Yeah,
all
no.
later.
All right.
Make
Yeah.
sure to sub
Good
and
night,
take it
Jack.
easy. See ya.